What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Scurry and the Scrub. This is Jordan Scurry checking in. It is, what is the date? Sunday, the 17th. I don't even know. Days
Yeah,
days start to blur now, man.
it's
Honestly,
another day in the
another
year
day
of
in the another
whatever
day
it
in the
is.
life, another day in the life. But checking in here, Matt. How you doing on this Sunday?
I'm alive, man. I woke up alive, so
Yeah,
I'm
I
making it
mean
making it
that
through.
would be a blessing. That would be a blessing. So we'll take that one
That's
and
been
we'll
the
run with it.
number one goal of every day is to wake up, like
Yeah.
because shit's been happening a lot. So
Yep. Yep. You never know. You never know. So we try to. That's a good. You gotta small wins, I guess, is the way
yeah, that's what I'm
we'll
talking
put
about.
it.
Yeah,
Though,
you gotta
because it's
you gotta appreciate the little things like opening your eyes in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, okay, now we gotta tackle the stresses of the 24 hours ahead, basically.
Yeah. So I try to fill my day with as many tasks, small tasks as possible. So small wins, man. 2021. We're here, but we digress. Know who didn't get a small win yesterday? Creighton.
No, they got a
Creighton did not
small
get a
they got a
small win.
small L.
They did
Yeah, that was
a small L.
I don't even
I
know
wasn't.
where do you want to start with that? Like there's so much
Yeah. There's so much we
frustration.
can. I get. There's so much we can get into. I mean, the obvious is we have to talk about the refing situation in that end of game. Like I will say I was watching it with no volume. So when I did watch it, like I didn't even notice that as much. But now that I go back, I'm like, come on. Why is this always happening to Creighton? And so I don't know. I'm sick of it. I know they're sick of it. And so I'm calling it out now that these games that are like trap games like this for Creighton are not officiated as normal games in the Big East are. So I'm calling it out. I'm calling that
I've
out.
always wondered what it felt like as a player. Like, do you guys sweat that stuff? Like, do you ever like go into
Well,
a locker room after a game like that and be like, man, we got screwed? Like, does a team ever like just
well,
harp on the refs a lot, or
yeah,
is
those
that
ones,
mostly a fan thing?
those ones, games like that are tough. I mean, like you go back, obviously in the locker room, the conversation immediately after the game is not about that last play. It's about the millions of things during the game that we like you didn't do to separate yourself. Like basically, it shouldn't have came down to that. That's what the conversation is immediately after. Um, But I think there's obviously part of you that after a game like that goes home and you're like, come on, why? Like, why did like, of course the refs are going to call this game like that. Like, just to make it close and just to make it a game like, I don't know. It's just to make it competitive. Like, I get it. Like, and all that, like to make sure that like there's no, I don't know, to level the playing field in whatever way. I get it. But I just think it's tough. Like I got frustrated because I just remember after the Marquette game, like after that one, I was really frustrated because I was like, you get annoyed when you played well enough to win, even the little mistakes that you did make. Like, yeah, you can go back, but it's like, come on,
You know what's funny about the Marquette game and
man.
yesterday?
Hmm, hmm.
So I don't know how much you've suppressed of that Marquette game. Like you're talking about the Sam Hauser .8, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I've suppressed a lot of it only because we got them back at the end of that year.
yeah, that's for sure. So
Yeah.
the thing that I realized yesterday
Mhm.
was the same referee who was standing closest to Hauser in that
Stop.
game, Mike Roberts.
Stop. Stop.
He was by half court yesterday watching like that shot clock violation that didn't get called.
Stop.
Yeah, same guy. Yep.
See, this is why
The dude who had the dude who had the best angle at
oh,
Sam releasing the ball also had the best angle at like Christian blocking Enzi and not that thing not hitting the rim with 6.6 left. Because that's what happened. Like Creighton should have had 6.6 seconds to get the last shot off of regulation
correct.
because they didn't get that ball did not hit the rim. It got
Mm-hmm.
blocked by Christian
Mm-hmm.
and the shot clock went off before that dude missed the bunny. Like the ball
Yeah.
was in his hand, 6.6 seconds. The red light was on, and the ref who had the best like vantage point at seeing that thing not even come close to the rim was the same ref who was closest to Sam Hauser that called that three good with .8 left, basically. So
See,
same
I
guy,
didn't even know that. I'm
Mike
glad you did your
Roberts. Mike
research.
Roberts. Remember the name?
I'm glad you did your research.
He's also the dude who
You're
called
calling them out by name. See,
Yeah.
I'm out here like,
Oh,
yo, I'm calling out the
outing.
refs. You're like, no. I'm calling them out by name.
No, by name. Yeah, I want him known. Like,
Is this a new segment? Is this a new segment we have? We're opening episodes with call outs. Is that what we're doing?
Listen, we're gonna call people.
Last week
it was white supremacy. This week it's bad refing. Like
it's bad refing.
We're just gonna hold people to account. That's what we do.
I love it. We coming out hot. I like this.
He was also the same dude who ran in and called that transition foul on Sharif when he got bodied on that like loose ball.
Oh, remember that ridiculous. Yeah,
that basically started the beginning of the end for Creighton's like run.
I saw your tweet like, give me a break, because I only laughed at it because I'm like, why did my man really run in there like that? Like, he was ready for that call. He was ready to make that call.
The worst part about it was like, both of the refs got it wrong. Just one got it worse wrong. Like the first ref, he gave the ball back to Creighton, which I guess okay, fine. But Sharif got like clotheslined. Like maybe he sold it a little bit, but he literally got like bulldozed.
Oh yeah.
He had the ball first. Like he didn't. You can argue he didn't have control of it, but he at least made a dribble on it to get it corralled. And then like I think it was Chuck Harris, right? Like he just comes and just plows over him, plows through him basically. And so O'Connell's just
Are you talking about the one in the?
It was like
the bottom baseline. It was like
I think it was 51-38 at that time, maybe when it happened.
Yeah,
so about 10 and a half minutes left.
Okay,
So Brian O'Connell's coming in from like the far baseline corner, and he like just rules it Creighton ball, incidental contact. Apparently, I was like, "What the okay?" And then the other ref comes in and overrules him, and I'm like, "Okay, this guy's got the foul because he had the closest to it. That was Mike Roberts." And he comes in and calls the foul, but he calls it on Sharif, and I'm just like, "What? Like, what?" Sharif's going to the rim with the ball, basically, like, and he just got plowed.
I thought that one was gonna be.
And then later in the game, you call that flagrant on Denzel. So Chuck Harris can basically bulldoze Sharif, and you call the foul on Sharif. But
this is what I mean.
But Aaron Thompson can flop on Denzel, basically boxing him out, and it's a flagrant 2 shots in the ball, and they tie the game. And like, come on, what the? You talk about leveling the playing field.
And I want to be clear. I want to be clear about it too, because this is my actual analysis. Like, I'm not trying to say, because Butler's at home and because Creighton's ranked, like, the Butler, the refs were trying to look out for Butler. No, I'm not trying to say that. What I'm actually trying to say is that it's like, because Butler likes to play more physical and they're known as that, and because Creighton is known as just this transition 3-point shooting team, these refs, I feel like, and I know they know these teams. I'm not like acting like they're coming into it being like, I'm like, no. They just call it like that game. They let Butler be more physical because that's their style of play. But then when Creighton had similar physical type fouls or type plays, I'm not even saying fouls, I'm just like even saying that Sharif thing, they're like, oh no, it's got to be a foul on Creighton because that's not them. See what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense.
It's like based on their identity.
It's based on like the team's identity. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I feel like
Creighton ratchets up their physicality. It means they're basically fouling essally.
Yes.
But if Butler's doing it, it's just who they are.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I always felt that way playing. I always felt that way. When we would have teams like, that's why some of those games were so, especially on the road, some of those games were so annoying because you were like, all right, like the refs are going, and especially in the first half, where they were like, you were always going to games being like, I really hope the refs aren't like, because I would know like at like a St. John's or something or a Seton Hall, like when the bigs were getting foul trouble early, like a Martine we getting foul trouble early, it would always be like, I mean, Martine did pickpockets a little bit. He put his hand in the cookie jar, but still, because they saw him like being active even in ball screens, I thought like they would be like, oh, that's not him. And then I'm like, oh, come on, man. You don't call the same thing if it's like homeboy for Marquette, Theo John. Like Theo John doesn't get that, but because it's Creighton. I don't know. Sorry to go on a rant there, but I just always have felt that way about some of the officiating for Creighton games.
I mean, I don't like to be that guy either, but I don't even know if anybody does. I don't know. Is it fun to complain about the refs for people?
No.
Like give us some feedback on that if you're listening. Like, do you like look for reasons to complain about the officials? Like, do you just not like officiating that much? But it's like it's becoming such a problem.
I just don't
this
like.
year,
I'll
but
say
I'm just
this.
like, I can't unnotice it because there's so many games that are coming down to these
Mhm,
situations, and I'm just like,
mhm.
yeah, I want to keep it 100 and make sure we talk about the things
Exactly. Exactly.
that teams can control that they didn't control, the reason they
Exactly.
lost. I totally get.
Exactly.
I even said it yesterday. I'm like, I
Yeah.
promise I'm gonna dissect the reasons that Creighton lost from the
Mhm.
standpoint of the things that they didn't control that they could have controlled.
Mhm.
Like I get that.
And we'll get into that. Like,
But you can't also ignore the fact that they lost by 4
yeah,
points in overtime,
yeah,
and there's X, Y, Z, all these examples
yeah.
of poor officiating, one-sided officiating, inconsistent
Mhm,
officiating.
mhm,
That stuff matters too.
mhm.
You can't just not
I
talk. You can't just not talk about that. Like,
and that's the point that bothers me. It's just inconsistent. Like I get it. Like refs are gonna make mistakes, players make mistakes. I'm not saying refs got to be perfect. I never, but I'm just like I don't like inconsistency. Like I don't like them calling it a certain way for creating one game and then the other not. I've seen it even like when games where like Marcus would get in foul trouble like last year. I would be like, what? Like, come on, you're not. He can't be like guys can get all up in him, but he can't get all up in other guards. Like, and then it's a foul on him. I'm confused. So,
I
yeah,
just,
no, I don't know. I'm gonna just call it like I see it. I'm always call it like I see it and how I
yeah,
feel.
I just
Maybe I'm
think
wrong,
like,
but
yeah,
I'm just saying how I see it.
you have the foul disparity, you have the free throw disparity, and I just don't, I just don't like. Butler was 6 of 19 from three. Creighton was 6 of 23, but Butler shot 11 more free
Mm-hmm,
throws, and Creighton was
mm-hmm,
called for 5 more fouls. Like,
mm-hmm,
but Butler's the more physical team.
mm-hmm.
Butler's the more physical team. They
Great,
should be being called for more fouls because they're just physical.
yeah,
Like they should,
man.
you know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't make sense.
Crane does got to
Or
get we,
and then you break
but
it down and
Creighton.
look at what they got called for. I just want to like go back to the first like 10
Mm-hmm,
seconds of the second half for crying out loud.
mm-hmm,
Damian Jefferson, 6'5", 220, whatever he is, in there battling with like Bryce Enzi, okay? And they're
mm-hmm,
just jostling for position. And like DJ's losing the battle, okay?
mm-hmm,
He's getting
mm-hmm.
displaced from the paint, essentially.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
is that a foul on DJ?
I don't know.
He's just getting
I
backed. He's
don't
getting
know.
backed out of the
I
paint.
don't know.
You know what I'm
It
saying?
doesn't make any
What did he
sense.
do wrong
Like
there?
I
That's
don't.
because that's his third foul. That's Damian Jefferson's third foul right away off the jump to start the half. So he's
I
basically playing 20 minutes in foul trouble at that
and
point.
what gets me about those is I'm like, what was going on? Like, because the ref had to be like hyper focusing on just that interaction, and like that's such a small interact. So I'm whenever I see those foul like off ball, any of those, like you think like why was that such a crucial part even to the like what was going on? And that one baffles me because I'm like, it just wasn't. Like it wasn't even like in play. It wasn't like he was a threat, anything. And I'm like, what did he see that made him like? I don't know what the ref was just like because there had to be. We're missing something. I need more from that because
But
it
we're
just
not
doesn't make
because
sense.
there was nothing there. That's what I mean. Like that's why I clipped it. That's why I looked at it over. I'm like, what did you see? What where's the violation? What is
Yeah, yo,
DJ
it
what is
does not
DJ
make
doing to
sense.
hinder Enzi's
Does
ability
not
to
make
post up there?
sense.
Because Enzi's just backing him out of the paint. Like
Does not
anyone
make sense.
the point whoever's got the ball at that point can make that pass and
Mm-hmm.
DJ can't do anything to stop that. Like
Mm-hmm.
why is there a foul there? And in 10
I
seconds
don't
into the
know.
half, it was like a 2-second little exchange. So you had to have been watching it. Like, someone from the Butler coaching staff tipped you off to say, hey, Creighton's holding our post guy.
That's what I was about to say. It had. That's what I was
Because
going
that
to
was
say
a
because
point
I'm
of
like,
emphasis call. Like, okay,
yeah,
we got to
because he
watch
was
this like a
looking
hawk.
at that. He was
Mhm.
looking at that as that play was going on.
Yeah.
Like, unless there was somebody said something to him or like yeah, it had to have been. That's a good call. That's like that somebody from Butler said it because I was thinking like, unless a player said it, yeah, it had to be the player, coach, something.
So does that affect you guys? Does that affect you as a player? Because, like you said, Butler is a more physical team. So if you're talking about how you said earlier when the officials try to let you play to your strengths, like
Mm-hmm.
if they let Butler be more physical, Creighton has to ratchet up their physicality to match that, to counter it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an instance where DJ's trying to be physical with a big guy, and because they think Creighton's not a physical team, because that narrative exists.
I don't think they ever give DJ benefit of the doubt ever on those plays.
Really,
we've seen it all. Yeah, we even when he makes certain moves. I don't know if it's about just something about his game, like the way he moves or something. But even when he makes like when dude, what was the game when they flop when he jump stop and like
UConn.
pulled up for that? Yeah.
Where the dudes ran into each other and he didn't even touch any of
Yes.
them. Yeah, and they called that charge. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So like they never give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know what it is.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't like to complain about refs, but this shit's piling up now.
Yeah.
Because you have that's arguably like the worst call you've ever seen. And then you also have the stupid call on Sharif. You have the shot clock violation that didn't even get reviewed. Like these things are mounting up, and it's like, wait, I'm tired of ignoring this stuff because the Big East historically has been, you know, there's a lot of battles in this thing. Teams don't like what happened last week where Creighton ran Seton Hall and St. John's off the floor. That doesn't happen like all the time. You're going to find yourself in a lot of games where it's 1 or 2 possessions, and a call like that matters.
Definitely.
Oh,
Definitely.
like just can you just not screw that up? Like just stop screwing that shit up. I'm not asking a lot of you guys. Just there's 3 of you. Talk shit out if you have to.
That was just
get it right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just the odds were, I guess the conclusion here is the odds were very against Creighton yesterday to go into Butler, and they had how many fans did they have there? Do you know? Like what capacity?
Somewhere, I think it was north of 2. I think it's like in the 2,500 range is what they're doing.
Because it holds.
I think they're at 25% capacity.
10.
Actually, let me see.
It holds 10, so yeah.
It holds 10.
But yeah, because I remember when it was sold out. They had
1693. They had in there 1693
yesterday.
Yeah,
yesterday.
So it's probably like awesome. Less than 20% of 20% capacity, I guess. What's Hinkle like to play in? They're gonna play NCAA tournament games there. I think that place is a dump. Do you?
Where?
Hinkle.
Where?
Hinkle. Yesterday.
They're gonna play NCAA tournament games there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this is breaking news to me. Is
it really? Yeah, they announced it.
I wouldn't like that.
Last week and a half ago.
No, I wouldn't like that. That might be cool. I like that.
Make up your mind.
I like that they're doing it like for the history of what Hinkle is.
Yeah,
like, that's cool because now it gives guys the opportunity who would never have played in the Big East or have never ventured to Butler University, like the opportunity to see like the historic Hinkle Fieldhouse. So I think that's cool. I would not like playing on that court in the NCAA tournament. Like, no.
That's what
I'm
saying.
I'm spoiled though. We got to go. My NCAA tournament experience. We went to the Golden One Center, which was incredible, in Sacramento, where the Kings play. Incredible. It's got the windows in the back. Like you can. It's like a sunny day as you're playing. It's beautiful. And then we played in. What is it? In Charlotte, where the Hornets play.
Oh yeah, that facility was nice.
What's that called? Spectrum.
Yeah,
Spectrum Arena. Yeah, and so that one was also super nice, and it's had like the NBA tunnel and everything. So I'm spoiled. Hinkle is not the Golden One Center. That's all. I think like I would want to be in the coolest pro arenas, but I guess there's a lot of basketball like players that would appreciate or a lot of college basketball players that would appreciate that historic Hinkle Fieldhouse experience.
I guess that's fair. I understand the nostalgia part of it, but I just don't get a lot of good feedback from players playing in that gym. Like sight lines.
Yeah, no,
the rims are trash. The sight lines suck. Like it's got, it's just old, leaky and weird. Like
no, Mac is tripped on that like that uprise too, because you know how the benches are below. Like Mac's even like been like, this is annoying because he's tripped. I mean, it's kind of. I'm not gonna lie, we did laugh when he tripped once.
Yeah, everybody did.
We was like, but
I think that was like the last time you guys won at Hinkle too, was when he almost fell on his face.
Oh, don't bring that stat up. Now I'm about to be like Mac. I think that was it. Like,
yeah,
you gotta bust your ass for us to win the game.
You gotta bust your ass for us to loosen up a little bit and win this game.
Yeah. Laugh a little bit and then we'll get a dub.
I came out.
Hard place to win. Hard place to win though, for real. Though.
Yeah. So like, here's where I'm going to jump back into like the basketball part of it. Like I came out of that game appreciating Aaron Thompson more than I have like in his career, which is probably my bad
Really?
because he's better than I've been talking about him. I just don't I don't like I'm not a fan of non-shooting ball handlers in the 21st century. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like
I agree.
what are you trying to do at this point with
I
like
agree.
pick a different sport, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or learn how to shoot, one of the two.
Yeah.
But man, if you're talking about one difference, and I think I might write about this later, if you're talking about one key difference in that game, and I just like, ignore the uncontrollable parts of it, like just talk about
Yep.
what did one team do, what was the other team not capable of? Having a veteran point guard who could just dictate the terms of engagement, like here's
Mm-hmm.
where we're getting on offense, here's
Mm-hmm.
where we're gonna live, here's where we're gonna try to score, here's where we're gonna try to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, all due respect to Sharif Mitchell, I know he like wasn't 100%, and he did a good job on Jair Bolden and like holding him
Mm-hmm.
down.
Mm-hmm.
He was our leading scorer going into the game, and Sharif held him basically to half his average. This is not an indictment on Sharif at all, but Aaron
Mm-hmm.
Thompson versus Marcus Zagorowski is just a different type of battle than Aaron
Yeah.
Thompson versus like Sharif Mitchell at that point guard spot, because
Definitely.
he took that game. He came back in. I charted this down because I rewatched it a couple times last night.
Yep.
He came back in, I think, with like 9 minutes and change left, just barely over 9 minutes left, and Butler was down 11. And every time he got into the paint, with the ball 10 times of their 22 possessions that they had left in the game. They scored on 9 of them. 9 of those 10
Mm-hmm.
possessions they scored on. He
Mm-hmm.
had 4 of those buckets himself, and the other
Mm-hmm.
5 he assisted on directly. And not like
Yeah.
these little cheapy assists where he passed it out to the dude and the dude made some
Yeah.
plays and got a bucket. Like
That was
straight into shooting pockets a couple times on kick out threes and straight into little dump offs for easy go up and lay it in moves. Like he dropped dimes when I'm talking about these 5 assists. They were the player who caught the ball had nothing else to do but score. They were already
yeah.
ready made. So like he dominated the final 9 minutes of that game. He's the reason Butler won. When you watch it, it boils down to that. Because when you look at
Yeah.
the 12 possessions where they didn't get him the ball on that little roll and replace action at the elbow, like 18 to 15
Mm-hmm.
feet extended, where he could just go into the paint and make a play. The 12
Mm-hmm.
possessions where they didn't get him going in that action, they had 6 points and 5 turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so think about the
Wow.
difference in that. 6 points and 5 turnovers
Yeah.
when they didn't get him the ball in the paint with his feet in the paint, making a play for his teammates or himself, versus the 10 possessions where they did. They scored 20 points and scored on 9 of those possessions. So you're
Yeah,
talking
you
about
hit
a
the nail on the
90%
head,
success
though.
rate. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's the veteran leadership. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. It's the just experience as a senior. He because like you could tell out there like he had such good chemistry with like the bigs and whoever. Like in when you were saying he was dropping dimes, it was like the same way like Marcus dropped dimes to like CB just because he knows him so well, like where he needs it to make a play with it, and like you could see like the bigs for Butler could just go up and get it, like score where he would drop it, or like on the wing, it started to move once he got in the paint. Like it didn't move, it moved like wing to wing a little bit or pass, whatever. But once he got in the paint, that was like, and it came out again. That's when the offense initiated. And you were like, oh, because that's when they hit those shot. Who was it that hit the three late down the stretch in the game that kind of like put it away?
That was on like a little dribble handoff to a trailer, but Thompson initiated
Yeah,
that too. That was the one time he
yeah,
didn't
that's
get
what
in
I
the.
mean.
That was the one bucket they did that where he didn't get in the paint, where he still dropped off a dime because it was off of
Still
a.
initiated
It was
though.
off of a Mitch. Mitch missed a fadeaway 3 front
The
rim.
three, yeah, I saw
It
that.
led to a little run out, so Thompson led the break, and then I think Miles Tate was trailing him a little bit, and he just
Yep.
kind of like did a little dribble exchange there, and he banged a 3, like, and that cut it from 4 to 3 in overtime. So
Yeah.
you're talking about, what was that? If Mitch hits a 3, they hit a 6-point swing right there.
Mm-hmm.
But if Mitch hits that 3, it's ball game. They hit that 3, they're back in it.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, is what happened there. So yeah, that was the only time they scored where he didn't get in the paint. But
And then kind of just to go back to like even like what you were just saying about Reef, like not an indictment on Reef, and even like Jet got in there and did his thing for a little bit, and I was like, and I love seeing them both like out there and all that. But again, like after that game, the like taking my bias out of it, I was trying to be like, you know what, this Creighton team really needs a Marcus Zagorowski. Like that, you could just tell late down the stretch, man. Like again, not indictment on anybody, but it was just like you see how having that composed point guard lay down the stretch, see Providence, turns out versus when you have like chaos going late in games and guys don't know what to do and ends up being a couple late missed assignments and then Denzel wants to rage foul and then game over. So
I mean, it's not even like I don't know if we're tiptoeing around talking about like deficiencies in Sharif from Jets game. It's just Marcus is really good.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it boils down to.
That's what
It's
it
like
comes down
Marcus
to.
is a great player. Like,
Mhm. And
arguably the
you
best.
just know where he would have made a difference yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just very apparent.
Like, yeah, you watch the St. John's game and the way that's, like I said, it's about dictating terms, right? So
Yes.
Aaron Thompson dictated the terms of a game that Marcus Zagorowski is equipped to deal with. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
St. John's dictated the terms of the game that Sharif Mitchell is fine with dealing with.
Exactly.
Up and down, chaotic, pressure.
Exactly.
Sharif, he thrives in that situation. He creates that situation every day in practice for himself.
Yeah.
So St. John's doing that to him is like you're basically just trying to give him a taste of his own medicine, and he loves that. Like that's like candy to him. You know what I'm saying? But like Aaron Thompson, walking the ball up, not even initiating the offense the whole time. He plays off the ball a little bit and he waits till like 15 seconds left in the shot clock. Then he comes and gets it. And then he gets him going.
Throws his body at you when he attacks the basket.
Yeah, all those shot fakes and head fakes and all that kind of stuff. That's veteran savvy. That's experience.
Yes.
And Marcus Zagorowski's seen all that, and he knows how to do that to a defender too. And when you're talking about what Creighton's offense needed, Denzel went off to get them the lead, right? But did anybody else really get going? You still with me?
Did I lose you?
No, I got you. You're frozen though. All right, we back. Wonders of recording podcasts on Zoom.
Yeah.
You have hiccups every now and then, but you can pause it though, so we're good. So we're back. So I was like, hopefully,
even though Matt's the scrub, I think my Wi-Fi is really the real scrub of this podcast. Sorry, so sorry to the listener.
We got like Scurry's the baller, but he's got like the scrub equipment.
That's what you guys think. You think it's Scurry in the scrub and Matt's the scrub, but it's really Scurry in the scrub because Scurry in his scrub Wi-Fi.
So anyway, before we got rudely interrupted by technology,
so rudely,
god dang Russians.
Here we go.
So you know what I mean? It's not like it's not an indictment of Sharif or Jet or anybody else who plays that spot. It's just like an acknowledgement that Marcus Zagorowski is a really good player. You could argue if you look down, just like watch the film, he maybe is the best point guard in Creighton history. All due respect to the greats of the past, but that, and especially for what the style that he's running, like the style of fight Creighton wants to have with people.
Yeah,
I mean, you could just tell from Nick Bott did a great job throughout the game yesterday of talking about
unreal job,
like the spacing that Butler was not respecting that you have to when Marcus is on the floor.
Exactly.
And when you're talking about that, it's not just one aspect of like, oh yeah, well they have to guard this guy. They have to guard Marcus because he can hit shots. Marcus can also, you can also play off Marcus a little bit, and then he can force bad closeouts, which he can attack and score with either hand because he has a good Euro step, good misdirection moves in the paint. He can hit shots over you. So like Sharif probably won't take a three that's contested. Marcus can. And has hit those before, right?
Yeah.
So that's another aspect. I don't remember a whole lot of pick and roll action, big little pick and roll action with Sharif yesterday. That's Marcus's bread and butter. And then with the extra passes and stuff, Marcus knows how to constantly move around the floor, kind of like Steph Curry. You know, he doesn't ever stay in one spot. He cuts a lot. He gets to different spots. He makes you trace him. And if you are late on closeouts, he can find the open guy quickly with his peripheral vision and his awareness.
Here and there.
Yeah, there's just so many little things that Marcus Zagorowski can do on the floor that you're talking about a 4-point game. Those little things that add up to a bucket here or there that stop a run. or that make a run smaller for opposing teams. That's the
Mhm.
difference in the end of a game right there. It's
Absolutely.
just the bottom line. So
And
Butler
yeah,
had a guy like that. Creighton didn't.
yeah. And Nick pointed that out like throughout the game. He did a great job of calling the game. Like he was saying even early on, he was like the game before prior, like obviously, I mean, it was a win. So he's like Creighton wasn't missing. I mean, in at no point like in that first game, like at the St. John's, we were like, oh, they really were missing Marcus here. Like, but this game they did, and that was it. And that was kind of the story of the game. And obviously, like it ended up being like that last 2 minutes was just hectic and chaotic, where it's like that's the difference. And so like I thought Nick did a great job of framing that all game. And then of course the way it ends is like, yeah, I think if they have Marcus, they win that game just because of the composure that he brings and just the ability to set the table, like you're saying Thompson did. Like that having that late for Creighton would have won that game, in my
I
opinion.
also think Butler was really prepared for Sharif. Like they were like, okay,
Yeah, that's true.
If Marcus has a hamstring, let's just hedge our bet that he's not going to be ready. And then,
Yeah.
if he is, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're essentially screwed anyway because they're a way better team at
Mm-hmm.
that point. But
Mm-hmm.
you could see that they were ready to defend Sharif because
Mm-hmm.
they were from the opening possession. They were clogging driving lanes, playing
Mm-hmm.
off of him. I think he hit a three early too because they played off of
He
him.
did. He hit it three early. But I think what's hard, and I tried to think about this too, because I was like, after that game, I was like, damn, this would have been a great game for Sharif to really like uh put a great performance out there to like show how like kind of like what we've all seen of he's capable of, and him just to show uh like how he's capable of like sustaining it. But I think what was hard for his mindset, like going into the game, what I would have trouble with is just like the way he plays and the way he's inserted into a game when they have Marcus, right? Is to be that like hectic, chaotic defensive presence, and then also like do his thing offensively, like in transition, push the pace, do all that. That's hard to sustain, like to come in, like even to come in, whether he was starting or just taking the majority of minutes at the point guard position, that's hard to sustain. Like, if your role was to be that energy guy and you were bringing and think like I gotta have the game, like now I have to sustain playing point guard, so I can't bring that 110 all the time. Like I gotta find maybe like he psyched himself out a little bit just because he wasn't that presence that I think we're used to seeing he is, and didn't have as much of an impact on that game as I think we all wanted him to. But yeah,
Yep, and that's the story of that. The
yeah,
story of another. What is how was that like the? I think the home team won the last 6 games, right? So that's that 4 straight L's at Hinkle for Creighton. Is that what that is?
yeah. I can't remember the last time we won there. I can't remember
I think it was the
winning there.
year. I think it was
It
the year.
was
The last time you guys won there, I think was the after Maurice got hurt.
yeah. Davion started, hit a
Yeah,
couple big threes.
like TC played really well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's the last time you guys won there. Was that 16,
crazy. That
17
was my
team?
freshman year. That was my freshman year, right?
Okay, so
Yeah,
you won at Hinkle. You know what it's like.
my freshman year. Never won again.
It's been a tough road.
No, no way.
I think you guys got worked the year after that. You guys got rolled. It was their senior night. Keelan Martin,
Oh
Andrew
yeah.
Ravish, like
Oh
they
yeah.
smoked you guys that night.
Oh yeah.
And then
I remember Keelan Martin. Oh yeah, and that was like Kamar Baldwin too. Yeah, come on.
yeah, they smashed you that night. That was like that was never a competitive game. And then
Yeah,
I
it
think the
was.
year after that might have been that 18-19 year might have been
Butler
competitive.
had some funny teams, man, in that era.
They do.
They had some funny teams.
Let's see. What was
Kamar
18?
Baldwin was a bucket though. Oh my Atlanta. He
Oh
was
my Atlanta.
oh my Atlanta.
Oh
He was
yeah,
a
18-19 wasn't close either. Dang. What were you guys? Oh Jesus, you guys
what
were down like 20 at half. Yeah, that was a
oh
blowout
yeah,
game.
no, like bring up all the stats. Just crush me. Yeah, that's great. I need the scores to relive these
Yeah,
losses. Thanks.
you played in that one
Is this
too.
a new segment called reliving L's? Like we're gonna bring up all the worst losses I've had, road losses I've had, and
I
just
mean, it just relates to the conversation.
great.
Let's see.
I love
Where's
these,
this other
these
one?
things.
Yeah, 93-70 was your sophomore year.
Yeah.
Did you play in this one? Did you get some run? Yeah, you got some run. Okay.
Oh yeah. I bricked a shot at Hinkle. I was
got,
I was cold. I was cold. The rims are kind of like tight at the end, like when when all the people is like emptying. When it's full of 10,000, and then people empty out, and it's only like it's probably what the amount of people that were in there yesterday. That was
right.
like the amount of people when I was putting up shots in there, and so it's like colder because all the people left, and so yeah, no, I definitely bricked one there.
Yeah, so you guys, your sophomore year, they led you by 19. Sophomore year, they led by 25. They whooped you guys' butts. Sophomore year, they led by 19 and a half. That was their biggest lead. And then last year, they got it to the hot start. I think you guys made it a game for like a minute, but then they ran it out. It's so funny because the games at Hinkle and the games in Omaha have been like just night and day.
Yeah.
I mean, you kicked the crap out of them last year.
Do you remember when Kyrie Thomas put Aaron Thompson on that poster?
Dude, I need to text you like I had the picture of Kyrie dunking on that dude. And he's a freshman then, like that poor little dude. I felt so bad. And then like Aaron Thompson went to the post game press conference with Butler that day. I think Laval brought him with it might have just been just him for some reason. Yeah.
Freshman, just trying to. He felt bad. He was like,
Yeah, he brought the.
You're gonna be on Sports Center.
He brought the young gun. He brought the young gun there, and Aaron Thompson looked like he had his soul extracted from him that whole presser. Like I was like, I know, I didn't, mention. I could tell by looking at him. I was like, I know why he has that look on his face because
it's a tough place to be. Imagine not knowing if he was gonna be on Sports Center the next day.
I love the reactions of like everybody around Kyrie that are like on the floor still when he's rising up over that little man and like punching on him.
I remember that.
Because they're just like, oh, and like Marcus is like, Davion's like, oh shoot,
yeah.
Ronnie's all tripping too. He's like, oh god,
yeah.
They just know someone's about to get good. Yeah, they know someone's about to get bodied bad. You know, it's a really funny.
Always had sneaky bounce. Taz had sneaky bounce.
I know. I have a really funny story about that game. I don't know if I've told you. I was sitting next to me and Alex actually were sitting next to a scout from the Utah Jazz that day. And before that play, like early in the game, we asked him who he was there to watch. You know what I mean? Like who were they eyeing and stuff? And they mentioned who else did Butler have on that squad?
They didn't say me.
He did not bring up. He didn't bring up your name. Yeah, it didn't come up.
You sure? Because I swear I definitely remembered getting a text from him.
I remember pretty well that conversation. But you were young on that team, so it might have been. Yeah, he might not have been. On the radar.
Maybe a different year. Maybe I'm thinking of a different year or something. It's fine.
So yeah, he didn't bring you up. Weird. I should probably ask him why not. But
it was assumed. It's fine.
I think that was the 17-18 year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, okay. So they had.
So who was he there to see, actually?
Yeah, so they had Keelan Martin. He said he was there to watch Keelan Martin for sure. I actually think that might have been the only guy he mentioned because I don't think he mentioned Kamar yet.
Because Keelan Martin played a little bit for.
Oh, he's still playing, I think, right?
He is? Yeah.
I think he plays for the T-Wolves, maybe? Or
no, you got me.
I know.
That would make sense because him and D'Angelo Russell are boys.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he definitely mentioned that. Yes, this is the game because Martin had 6 turnovers because Kyrie just like ate his lunch all day. So, so he said he was there to watch Keelan Martin.
Yeah.
Like that was the only guy he mentioned. He didn't mention Marcus Foster. He didn't mention Kyrie. He didn't mention you. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't mention any Creighton guys. Yeah, it's fucked up.
No. He's still on in revision. I just checked. He is on the Pacers.
Okay. Okay. Sorry to wrap up the story. We were like, oh, so who are you here to watch? Who are you scouting? Who are you interested in? He's like, I'm here to check out this Keelan Martin kid for Butler, and we're like, wait, that's it? Because the thing that I had going all year was Kyrie had just owned Keelan Martin. Like defensively, he had like just like that dude was on like Clamp City. Like
That was the thing, man, about Kyrie, because it was like all these dudes who are, because how tall? Keelan Martin's like 6'8", power forward. Like that's what you're thinking.
Like 6'6",
And then
6'7", big dude.
Yeah. And then Kyrie was like 6'6", small forward.
6'3". Yeah.
6'3", clamping.
Yeah. Like picking his pocket, like not letting him get anywhere. So Keelan Martin actually had 6 turnovers that day because Kyrie was just like in his, basically went back to his family tree and owned him that badly. But so he's there to watch Keelan Martin. He doesn't mention any of the Creighton dudes. Doesn't mention Marcus Foster. Doesn't mention Kyrie Thomas. And we're like, all right, I feel like you're about to get an eye-opening experience here. And no lie, when Kyrie punched on Aaron Thompson, when he rose over that little dude and just like ended him in front of the whole arena and like just annihilated his family history, this dude spent the rest of the game just like reading Kyrie's bio. Like that little booklet they hand out, you know what I'm saying?
As he should.
He just was like
as he
scrolling. He didn't.
Kyrie was one of the best kept secrets ever.
Seriously,
because he was competing. Because think about the dudes he was like. Because he was going against the Josh Harts, the Brunsons. Like he was dudes in the league now. Like that's why at least we see where he ended up in the league. Like man, free Kyrie. He needs to be back in the league because all the dudes he was locking up and was giving buckets to her in the league now, like, because that was his last year. That was when you knew he was gone because the way he was able to score then, you knew what he could do defensively. But once he started scoring like that and operating off the pick and roll, I remember guarding it and I was like, yeah, it's about time for him to get up out of here.
Once he had that like almost triple-double against Northwestern, remember that Northwestern game where he was like 24, 10, and 5 basically? Yeah, it was like, okay, that's it. This is his last year. Honestly, Summer League. Remember the numbers he was putting up in Summer League that year?
Man. I mean, that Summer League,
I know guys can pop off in Summer League. Like you've dropped 50 in that before. I get it. Like guys can, when guys get heated up, you're not stopping in Summer League. Yeah. But Kyrie averaged like 50, like 4 straight weeks. Averaged 50. Yeah. It was like 50 points, like 10 boards, like 5 dimes, 60, for 4 straight weeks. And it was like,
and what was the game? And what was his max? 63 was the game he had the most.
Yeah, something crazy.
It was something crazy.
He had like 50. I think he got close to 60. They you know how when they get like in blowouts, they cut the game off early or whatever. He had like 58 with like 3 minutes left, and they were like,
something
scrap it. Like, and it's like, so okay. When that's going down, it's one thing. Like dudes can go off for like 40 or 50 or whatever, and they just have like a good night. When you're averaging that over like a month, you're a leaguer because they're good ass players.
Free Kyrie, he need to get back on the team, man.
Yeah,
free Kyrie. NBA needs to take him back.
He was a bucket too. People don't.
He still is. He still is. He needs to get back in the league. Some team needs to go get my man.
Speaking of getting guys help, Deshaun Watson needs a new franchise.
Yeah. Man, ship him right up. You can come on up here and we can start something new in New England. Come on.
Okay, so it's like it's making me think it's more popular. Remember when you?
Okay.
You put me on blast for saying that like the Texans jerseys are basically like knockoff, like off-brand Patriots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they are. There's the JV. There's two JV.
JV. That's what you said.
The JV Patriots. The JV Patriots are the Houston Texans and the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, those are the JV Patriots. Both teams are the JV Patriots, and it's a fact.
So if Deshaun like gets traded to the Patriots, you're only going to have more of a point to make there because essentially,
he went from the minors to the big league. Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I need to change the scenery, man. I think I'm riding with Deshaun too because I've seen so much of this. Like, I'm just not cool. I'm not that tied to the Texans where I'm like,
hey, if Deshaun's coming, if you come in and Deshaun's coming, bring JJ Watt with you too. We could use him.
Okay.
Come on, bring him too. Let's get a package deal.
I'm just tired of
anybody on this roster.
I'm just tired of like Houston finally got their gift in the draft. You know what I'm saying? Like Deshaun fell to them. the Bears took Trubisky and like Deshaun and Watson and Mahomes fell, and like the Texans picked. Like I thought Watson was the number 1 overall player in that draft that year.
Yeah.
And if it's not for Patrick Mahomes, those are 1 and 2 in that draft, are they not? Am I missing somebody? Right? Like in hindsight, those 1 and 2, right? If they redrafted now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Deshaun might have been the best quarterback in the league this year, even though the
Texans. I don't think because it's. All right, I gotta look at stats for that one, but yeah, I know the talent's there, so yeah.
Yeah, like
did he really?
Yeah. Yeah, he had like 45. Now I gotta look it up. Make sure I'm coming.
Yeah, now I want to know.
Okay,
now I want to know because that makes sense. Because when you're that bad, they would put that much trust in you. Just be like, please go sling this thing, and he can sling that thing. So I could see it. So, but please, come on, you could take. I'll make this trade like Patriots. You can take anybody. I just want Deshaun and JJ. You can take anybody on this roster, coaches, except for Bill. But y'all can take coaches. Y'all can take kickers, whatever you want. Because I know the Houston Texans are known to make dumb decisions and trades. So
yeah. So
what do you got?
Yeah, he's at 4,800 yards.
What does he have?
4,800 yards, 4,823. It's the 25th most. It's the 25th most passing yards in a single season.
And who's second?
Jeez. Mahomes is second.
Who was second on that list? Yeah.
Mahomes. He was at 4,740.
Jeez. Yeah.
So Deshaun was at.
Please give us Deshaun. See, actually, because you know what? This is why. Wait, I can set this up even better now. I can set this. I didn't even think about this till now. So now I'm just riffing. So I told you that I'm upset with Lamar Jackson. Obviously, today is Sunday. The Ravens lost to the Buffalo Bills last night, and I'm very upset about that because I wanted my man Lamar to go through because I wanted the setup to be for the playoffs for the next few years, right? Look, I wanted the storyline to be Lamar versus Mahomes. I wanted that to be like the new Brady versus Manning. But plot twist, since Lamar can't get the job done, send Deshaun up to New England. We'll get the job done. And instead of Lamar and Mahomes, it's going to be Deshaun and Mahomes because the Pats and the Chiefs are going to be in the AFC Championship for the next 5-6 years. That happens.
You think so, huh?
You're not following. You're not digging it. You're not sipping that Kool-Aid. You don't like that storyline.
I'm listening.
You're not feeling it.
I'm listening. Keep going.
You're not feeling it. You just don't. You don't want Deshaun to come. You really don't want Deshaun to come. Yeah. You don't, because you don't want to be a Patriots fan though. You don't even want to have to associate with Patriots fans. That would hurt your soul.
I don't think that's true. That's not. I'm cool with them. Yeah, so he had like 33 TDs, 7 INTs.
Yeah, I mean, you're like that's what I mean. You're already a JV Pats fan. Why don't you just level up like Deshaun wants to?
I don't know.
If Deshaun, if Deshaun levels up, you have to level up. That's the only deal.
That's fair.
We get you to Pats Nation one way or another.
Yeah, dude. I'm just frustrated. I don't feel like I'm not loyal to the cloth, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I just don't. Yeah. I'm not riding with Houston anymore. I have no ties to them. I've lived through enough of this. Like, I didn't even really watch much NFL this year because they got rid of DeAndre. They spoiled me on it. Like, they got rid of DeAndre after Bill O'Brien had biffed the championship or the divisional round game against Kansas City with that big lead that Deshaun gave him. Like, just horrible coaching decisions. And I'm like, you didn't fire him. You traded away draft picks for the next 2 drafts. Houston doesn't even listen to this. They traded DeAndre Hopkins away, and they gave up a first rounder in that freaking trade. Why would you fucking do that? Why are you trading away the best receiver in the game and giving picks away?
No, we talked about this. We talked about what Bill O'Brien did. He's like the type of person come in your house, make a mess, and leave. Like he made a mess.
Seriously,
he made a mess. Like Houston it's going to be hard for them to clean that one. It's going to be a while just until that if it realistically is going to turn around there, it'll just be a while because it's like football. Like there's just so many top down things where it's like it has to be. There's so many people who are like in charge of things where it's like if those people aren't making the best decisions, this isn't gonna work. And it's been a long time of those like that for Houston. But that's what I mean. Like you talk about being loyal. Like I'm like thinking that's how it's gonna be for me. Because like the only reason I'm still tied to the Patriots now is Bill Belichick. I'm like, I believe in Bill. Like Bill delivered 6 championships. I have to have some form of loyalty. Like Tom did his thing
I
and
mean,
he's out.
Tom, you can kind of deduce that Tom Brady delivered those 6 championships now, right?
Can no.
All
No,
right, so
because we
here,
can't say that yet. Yet, if Tom Brady
the
goes out and
only
he
two
wins this
times
too,
they've missed the playoffs under Belichick were years Brady tore his ACL and then this year. That's it. So what do you think now? Come
okay,
on, man.
could have
Be
made the
honest with
playoffs.
yourself.
Should have made the playoffs the year with Matt Castle. We were 10-5. We were decent.
Did they make the playoffs? Is my question.
No,
Okay. Did
but
they
we
make the
could
playoffs
have,
this year?
should have,
How many years
could
did
have,
you guys
should
miss
have.
the playoffs with
Miami just
Brady as the
decided they wanted
quarterback?
to be good that year.
How many years did you miss the playoffs with Brady as the
You
quarterback?
just said it.
One, right? Isn't
None.
the one that the year
No.
after the Super Bowl wasn't the only one?
Yeah.
Okay, so and then the other 2 years you missed it were when he was hurt or gone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you think is the reason? Is it Belichick deliver 6 titles or did Brady?
I think it's a combination of the two.
Yeah, you would think that because you are
No.
you're trying to stay loyal.
No.
But I'm telling you, you
Stop.
shouldn't give
Stop.
up, dude.
It's a
not
combination of the two.
I'm,
It's a combination of the two.
I'm just riding with my guy, Deshaun Watson. I'm gonna be like a LeBron stan in the NFL. Like you know how
Okay.
no one
Yeah.
like all this generation of NBA fans don't really ride with like teams.
Yeah.
They just
They're
like
player
wherever
fans.
LeBron
Yes,
goes,
correct.
like they
That's
just
why. Yes.
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm gonna be one of those dudes, but for Deshaun Watson.
I like it.
I'll ride with that dude wherever he's at. And I don't want him. I just feel like I don't want him in Houston anymore because you literally traded away all this dude's talent. Okay. You didn't get anything in terms of draft assets in return. So you can't even help him.
No.
You can't even help him rebuild.
No.
Because you traded away all that in the moves you made to cut costs, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And then this dude comes out, has a career year. He's the best quarterback in the NFL from a statistical standpoint, even though you guys are ass. And he asks for one freaking thing. Just hire me this guy. Eric Bieniemy, he's worked with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is literally the best QB in the game, has literally endorsed this man to be a head coach for Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's like, hell yes, give me that guy. And you're just like, you're all iffy about it. At what point? Who are you trying to please here? What are your motives in that?
That's what I don't know.
Make your stars happy. That's it. So at this point, I don't want to see Deshaun play another game in Houston unless Eric Bieniemy is their head coach. If you're not going to give this dude,
I'll back that. I
don't want him wasting his time there. So send him anywhere. I don't even care. And wherever he goes, I'm buying the gear. Like if it's Dolphins, I already started looking at Dolphins like hats and stuff. I'm cool with their colors. I'll ride.
Oh, he would thrive in Miami. He would thrive.
Oh, dude, yeah, for real, right?
He would. Thrive.
You want to stop Buffalo? Send Deshaun to Miami. That'll stop Buffalo.
Yeah. Wow. Wait, I kind of like that idea better than the Patriots. Honestly, like that would work out a lot better for him, and I think he'd like having real receivers. Like
will we both be Dolphins fans if he gets traded to Miami? Are we gonna like hook up together on that one? Like go.
Okay, I could do that. I could be a Dolphins fan. I hate the Buffalo Bills, but I could be a Dolphins fan.
Okay, we'll both buy.
I think I could be anybody. Actually, Jets I don't like either. Like it's just I think those are my two teams. I think we just figured it out.
Okay.
The Patriots and the. But all right. I like what we're on here.
Yeah, get him out of there though. Like it's enough. I've seen enough. This
all
is 25 now. He's a pro.
We're calling for
MVP
it.
level
Get
guy.
Deshaun out of Houston. Get Deshaun out of Houston.
Yep. You know who else needs some help? Lamar Jackson, because that dude.
Yeah, that's true.
Some help too. What's his contract like?
I don't know.
He's younger than Deshaun, right? Like he's behind those guys, isn't he?
Let's find out. Yeah, I think. Oh yeah, because Lamar. Yeah, he is. He's younger than Joe Burrow.
Oh, that's right. He still is, huh?
Lamar Jackson's younger than Joe Burrow.
Youngest Heisman winner ever, youngest MVP, NFL MVP ever. Yeah, that dude needs some help.
Yeah,
because he's running for his life every day out there.
Yeah,
I mean, he can do it.
A 4-year, $9 million contract with the Baltimore Ravens, including He signed that. This was free agent until 2023. I mean, not free agent. I'm sorry, free agent in 2023 under this current contract he's in.
Yeah, he got beat up yesterday. I
Yeah,
mean, he
he
made a
did.
big mistake throwing that pick six in the end zone, but
Yo, I texted you about
that's
it,
on him.
but yo, did you see the center for the Ravens, the snapper? He muffs the snap to Lamar and literally sticks his hand we're in a global pandemic. They're playing a sport where everyone's touching that ball. It's being handed off, thrown around. Everyone's putting their hands on it. And he licks all of his fingers as the main person who's about to hike the ball. And it was like locked in on TV. I was like, okay, I get it, but maybe not now. Like maybe not in a pandemic on TV for people to see.
I don't
know.
You texted me right away. You're like, are you watching this game? And I'm like, yeah. Like thinking
about the
You could say any number of things next, and you're like, tell me you just saw this dude lick all of his fingers, every digit,
every single one.
every
He
one.
licked all of them,
Like he
and
was
then
about
put him on the ball.
Yeah, like
I
he
was
was just
like-
like licking, like he was licking grease off them. Like, oh, this is so tasty right now. Like,
I was like,
good.
this
And
is
then he,
why
like,
the NFL
grabbed
has
that ball.
code. I'm like, oh yeah, so they're not gonna they care about you having your mask on the sideline, but my man can just lick all his fingers and snap the ball, and I gotta touch the ball, which I have no control of. Like, wait, come on.
This is the same nasty ass franchise that had like the biggest outbreak in pro sports, though. So like, it doesn't really.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
Baltimore kind of had they're like
That's
the gold
why.
standard for
Wait,
letting
I
shit
think
get
we
out of
just
control.
did the contact tracing for how Lamar Jackson got COVID.
Yeah, all for sure. Yeah,
I think we just did it.
Mm-hmm.
He got it from the center.
They were all doing
his
that in
fingers.
practice and stuff, like licking the ball and stuff, and throwing it to Lamar. Yep,
That makes sense.
That's what happened.
That makes sense.
Speaking of COVID, like, are you got any Celtics active right now? Like anybody?
Nope.
I think Kemba's back.
Nope.
Right? I saw Kemba's coming.
I mean, yeah, would be back, and that would be great if the team was at full strength. The COVID NBA is going to have to do something, I think, about this COVID situation because we've seen.
Are you only talking from like the Celtics standpoint, or are you?
No. I'm actually. I'm glad you asked that. No, I'm glad you asked that. Actually, though, but I really do think it's going to come down like guys are even. I don't know. I just think that it's become so so many guys are getting in and all that. It's gonna have to the NBA is gonna be forced to make a decision to do something further. Like I don't know if they're gonna have to start quarantining players more and putting more restrictions. I don't know what it is, but it's like there can't be these times where it's like teams only have like 4 active players on a roster and then they have to postpone games. Like I know that they're losing money from that. Like it has to be a problem, right? And so I really think that they're going to be forced to make a decision on if they are restricting players, saying like you can't be going out to these you can't be going out to eat and all that, which is hard in itself. I don't know how you're going to tell grown men making lots of money and doing their day jobs to not have certain interactions that they're used to having with that job. I don't know, but I think something's going to have to be done, and it's going to be up to the NBA whether they're going to be like, all right, we're making this decision based on money, where we're like, all right, we actually can't be postponing these games and all that, and it doesn't matter. So if you have even your 5 bottom of the roster players are healthy, like you got to play it. Or it's like if they're in the players' favor, where it's like these dudes are getting COVID from I don't know where, like dudes who I'm saying aren't like doing anything extra or whatever, and they're missing games now, and that's hurting their team and hurting, I guess, the NBA product in general. Like if they care about that, if the NBA cares about having the stars out there on the floor, having teams at full strength, whatever, or if they're just like, this is COVID thing, we're just gonna have to adjust to it. I don't know, but I think something's gonna have to be done, and I think the best way to do it, where it's like you don't have stretches where guys are gonna be like best players, like your Tatum's are going to be out for games because of COVID, or even as we get later, like luckily we were in the bubble for last playoffs, but what if this happens in the playoffs this year? Like what if LeBron James is out like in game 5 of a playoff series against the Clippers? I just think it's going to have to come down. Maybe you do parts of this regular season in bubbles, or maybe you go for playoffs, you regionalize bubbles to have some type of uh, situation like that. I think that was, as I've looked at like the many ideas that the NBA is like kind of mulling over, I thought that was uh, the best one going forward, just in terms of if they are trying to keep all the guys healthy and they are trying to keep all those guys out there, definitely try to have regional bubbles. But I don't know. I'm interested to see what actually happens, and even if they actually do anything, or if I'm just talking about something that doesn't even matter here. But I don't know. We'll see how serious. We'll see how much safety is going to play into it, like, and how much it's just about the games being played.
I just don't get why they jumped back into a season so quickly. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, it's probably
way
fine.
quicker than I thought. I never thought it was going to. I never would have guessed the season was coming back when it did. From all accounts that I listened to, all the articles I read, everything, even like I saw Mark Cuban went on record to say, like when they asked him, it was a month, like right after, it was a month before the season actually started. They said, when do you think, so it was like end of November. They were like, when do you think the season's going to come back? And he was like, uh, only like, he goes, I only think we'll ever be allowed back in arenas when vaccinations start going out to the people working in the arenas. Like, I don't think we'll be able to have a season until then. And he was like, yeah, so like after like MLK Day probably is what we're gonna shoot for. And I know in all earliest reports that's what we heard. So I was like, I never would have thought we were gonna start that quick. And now we're seeing all these problems, and it's making me, or not problems, but now we're seeing all these guys just getting it and all that, and it's making me a little nervous and a little like, should we have? I don't know.
Well, just, I mean, from a financial standpoint, it's the only explanation. And I have less sympathy for professional athletes than I do college ones because professional athletes are
Mm-hmm.
getting paid a lot of
Mm-hmm.
money.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have to make some
Agreed. Agreed.
arrangements to make your living, you kind of got to do that. But
Agreed.
you sent these guys into a bubble, right? And it was clearly tough on their mental state, but they got
Mm-hmm.
through it, right? They,
Mm-hmm.
however far they went into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you just restarted like life was normal when life wasn't normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you made some arrangements to handle these problems, like you expanded rosters
Mm-hmm.
to 15. You allowed the two-way guys to be on the active roster for longer than normal. And but you're still like 100 steps back, one step forward type of deal, because you're knocking out
Yeah.
stars left and right, and you're expecting them to be, responsible in a daily life. But you can be responsible in daily life and still catch this thing. That's
Yeah.
how infectious it
Yeah.
is. That's how out of control it is
Yeah.
in this country. So
Yeah.
what are you asking of these dudes?
Yeah.
And
That's
why are you being, putting out like criticisms of them if all they're doing is just like they're just living
mm-hmm.
and they're trying to hoop at the same time. They're trying to do what they got to do, but you're
Mm-hmm.
not in bubbles anymore. So what are they supposed
Mm-hmm.
to do?
Mm-hmm.
How are they supposed to isolate themselves to the point
Mm-hmm.
of not catching this thing or not giving it to somebody or not infecting the rest of their teammates, that kind of thing? You're just
Yeah.
playing with fire right now. Because that's
Yeah.
why you shut down the season in the first place, was because you couldn't logistically keep people from getting infected, and that's why
Like
you had
what
to stop,
imagine
because there
if
was too much exposure to the public.
like what do you say to an NBA player who travels to, so say I travel to Florida and I have family, like we're playing in Orlando and I have family close to there. And yeah, I'll stay at the hotel. I'll do all like or whatever the team thing is like to do and like COVID protocol. But what if my aunt, like what if I want to see some family? Like what if I have a family member there I want to see? Are we now going to limit that? Or like I don't know. I just like my biggest point is, and like tell me if I'm making too big of a deal of it. I am like, there's guys like the Tatums and the KDs and all of them of this world who are guys who are trying to build legacy and all that and like really have these whatever their careers to be, like to be missing this many games for that. Like maybe I'm making a big deal of it, but I would be like pissed if I'm one of these guys. Like, and especially for it to be like, I don't know, from having the bubble to now, I think is what my comparison is, like having it being the one sport that had no cases at all, and then now for it to have that, I'm like, oh, it's kind of like that really does affect things, and maybe I'm just playing it up more than it matters. But I'm like, I mean, it's what makes the games more exciting. It makes it like when you have all your players, all your stars available. It's like, I don't know,
Well, that's why they're your stars.
yeah,
So I just don't know to what end you're trying to salvage this thing. I mean, it's got to. I can't help but think
exactly,
it's financial because that's the same reason college sports is going right now.
yeah.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
Like
it
I
has to
mean,
be the answer.
dude, coaches have already let that cat out of the bag. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
let it out of the bag years before this, but they've flat out said it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we don't have a season, it's
Mm-hmm.
over essentially from an
Mm-hmm.
NCAA standpoint because the
Mm-hmm.
financials will be too hard to
Mm-hmm.
overcome.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they gave the game away, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
I just,
what did it?
you know what the other part of it is? Like, I don't know how many conversations you've had with the dudes who are still in this situation, but like, would you want to play in a pandemic?
I mean,
Because
I'm
think
not.
about all the
I'm
things,
not. Like I to answer your question, I'm not, and I'm choosing not to. Like
like if you're
I'm
Marcus
actively
right
right
now,
now.
if you're
Like
Mitch, like, yeah, you there's a part of you that's like, oh man, we got a good team, we can do some things.
yeah,
Like, if we just mind our p's and q's and make these sacrifices,
yeah.
we can go on a good ride here.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
to what end? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because in college basketball, you're just talking about making memories.
Exactly.
You're not getting paid for
Exactly.
this. You're just trying to you talk about creating legacies. That's all you're doing in college, essentially, is
Yeah.
trying to write a story that you can look back on and look back on fondly, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I don't know. I just don't. It's tough because they're making a lot of sacrifices, and you don't want to say. I mean, it goes back to Wednesday. Like, I don't think anybody should have played that day. I think everyone should have taken a
Mm-hmm.
day to like reflect on what the hell just happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with this whole pandemic. I don't know why we're putting everybody back into the world and then trying to tell them to act a certain way. Don't go out,
Mm-hmm.
don't do this, isolate yourself when you're not with us. Like, and then we'll just like, we'll create little bubbles for ourselves when we travel to places and when we try to like get games going.
So many limitations.
Yeah, like what's the mental strain on these like college athletes at this point?
Oh,
Because
it's got to be the
when I talked to
heaviest.
Jalen this summer about what it was like in the WNBA bubble, she said that it was harder because she almost felt like she needed to have classes or something like that to
Mm-hmm.
occupy her mind when it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't time to practice or play.
Yeah.
But that's what everybody in the college basketball world has been doing right now because they've been out of class since what, Thanksgiving? Isn't that when the semester
Yeah.
ended? Okay.
Yeah.
So they've been out of class since Thanksgiving. So they've been in nothing but basketball bubbles.
And that's how
Practice, back to the dorm, travel, stay in the hotel, play, go back. All it's like a constant schedule. It
and
doesn't
that's how
change.
it was. And that's how it was even, like for us, because I just remember back to even like last year during winter break and all that, when all the normal winter breaks from the past, like when it's like you finish your finals and then all the Creighton students will go home, but we're on campus for 2 more weeks playing games. And so it's literally just like 2 days, like basically like you practice and then you just like kind of go back, but you don't have school. So it's nice. It's like we have a thing about it. It's like league life. It's like being in the league, but we're not getting paid. Um, but so it's nice, but like that's only nice because things and like you could do stuff with your teammates and like go out and about and all that. And now it's like to not have that, and even the games weren't any type of event for people to really go to. You know what I mean? Because that's what that was the thing. It was like, yeah, it's gonna be like slow and whatever, and like you're not gonna have class and you'll be bored, but you have those games like where a bunch of people are coming to because it's an event. Games aren't an event anymore. They're just something that needs to be played.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
to
So it's
be
like
kind of blunt about
how
it.
much do the players love the
Yeah,
game versus
yeah,
how much are they willing to
yeah,
sacrifice to just get that little bit?
yeah.
Because I'm trying to be sensitive towards that. I'm trying to be sympathetic
Mm-hmm.
towards the fact that
Mm-hmm.
these dudes live in. There's a lot of like ball is life type of players just on Creighton's team alone. You know what I'm saying? Like guys that would live in the gym without you asking them to live in the gym. They just
Yeah.
it's in their DNA. You know. So I'm trying to be sympathetic towards taking that from them and saying
Mm-hmm.
we shouldn't be playing basketball in a
Mm-hmm.
pandemic. Chill out, give everybody their extra year of eligibility,
Mm-hmm.
and get this thing off the ground when everybody's vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a sensible approach, but or sensible approach, but I can't get over the fact that we're asking a lot from just a
A
social
lot.
standpoint. What are we doing to them to try to let them have a season? Like, yeah, you're giving them a
Yeah.
season. I get there's some give there, but is it like to them? Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm asking. Like, I don't know. I'm not asking you to out people. I'm just saying in conversations you've had with players, and if you were in that situation
But
yourself, would it be worth it to you to practice,
to
go back
me
to the dorm?
personally,
Yeah.
if I'm
If you're on Creighton
no,
right now, like if you're
no,
playing college basketball
no.
right now.
To me, I can say it now. I can say all I want to say now. I'm not. I could not do this right now. No, 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 no. I would. I would really struggle with this. Really, really struggle. I would really struggle with playing this whole time. Like, and you knew my experience, and I thought about it heavily, heavily before I even saw the Creighton schedule come out earlier this year. I said, I even remember saying like just like to my mom because I was like, I don't think I could have done it. Like you saw even my role like at Creighton, right? And what it was. I don't know if I could be that in under these circumstances now. Like for like I don't know if I could do that during like because in I said even in my senior speech, like one of the like best things, man, was like I looked forward to every even playing or not, like whether I was playing, I looked forward to games because it was like I had like it was just such an experience like
It was
that.
like a
And I
concert.
had yeah, and I
Yeah.
had like all like I was like I said the joke in my senior speech, I was like I had 17,000 like best friends who I would hang out with 2-3 times a week. Like, but like that's real. Like that's the shit that got me through like
Mm-hmm.
college. I was like, I can look forward to like 3 games of 17,000 people like a week. Who like no people don't get to think like no normal people don't get that 17,000 like 3 times a week. Like what?
Right.
2 3 times
Yeah.
like and so that really was like a driving force of why I was the player I was even at Creighton and why I did all that. So I was like without that, and I'm not saying it was all about that again, but without that, it would be really hard for me to be motivated for a lot of other things, even.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And then
yeah, it would have had it would have had it.
away, like you said, the social connection with your teammates. You're taking that away too.
Yeah, and then you're
So
taking
there's not a lot
away.
of fun being had right now. It's like they're
Yeah,
all doing. It's like they're all in like the
yeah,
business
and
business
all the
mindset of
like
it.
and all the kids that I would coach at like camps and stuff that would come to games, who I would like see and like high five after games and like get to like hang out with, like that that's gone. So like that even like I don't know, like going to games and knowing there was little kids who I coached and stuff like there and all that motivates you, like to do what you do, like to feel some type of responsibility in that way. And I don't know, it would be very tough. I'm not giving myself enough credit. I do think I might have figured it out and like sacrificed, but it would have been really hard. I just like where I'm at now, I would not want to do. I would not want to sacrifice to play during this type of situation. I don't know.
Yeah, I just feel bad
Just not
because I
for me.
don't.
It wouldn't be for me. It really wouldn't.
I don't
It
know.
wouldn't be. I just don't think it's all that worth it. It's not the experience. Like you said, like the guys in it now, like the Ballers Life guys who are in it now, like the on Creighton, they're around the country. They're in it for the opportunity, right? Like I was in it just to be in it because I was like, I just want to create memories. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love the opportunity. I'm gonna make the most of the opportunity, but I'm in it to be in it.
Yeah,
Like
because
for
that's
the sole purpose of being in it.
that might be as good as it gets for a player who doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
like NBA
Mm-hmm.
aspirations or potential,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if you
Mm-hmm.
if you don't see that in your path, all you have are the memories you're making in those
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 years, right? So
Exactly.
that's what you're hoping to make the most of is like savor these moments and then like make sure you remember as much as you possibly can because those are the things you're going to look back on and think fondly
Mm-hmm.
about your time, right? So
Mm-hmm.
who who of the players in college basketball right now who aren't going to play in the NBA, who aren't going to pursue professional basketball overseas or anything like that, how many of them are having like an enjoyable time right now? How many of them are making memories that they're going to look back on fondly? Because it's a large percentage, right?
Not a lot.
What percentage of college basketball
No,
players,
it's
you know what I'm saying?
are in that group. Oh, it would have to
Yeah.
be at least a third,
More like
at
way more
least.
than that, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So think about how many guys right now aren't like totally invested because they realize this is more of like stressful day job, 9 to 5 ish type of work that they're not
That they're
getting
not
paid
getting
for
paid for.
again,
Not getting paid for.
not getting paid for.
Let's
Have
throw
to
that one on there.
emphasize
The
that part.
NCAA is not paying
Yeah.
them.
That
Just
they're
saying.
not getting paid for and the memories aren't worth. So again, is the juice worth the squeeze? Because you're not getting much juice. Again, we're talking about the payment. You're not getting much juice out of it. And the juice that you would get is the memories. And the memories aren't good ones right now. They're not as good as they could be because your college basketball experience is way different than it would be in a normal situation. Like you talked about having 17,000 friends, feeling like a concert, feeling like an event. That's all gone. What's is it worth it? Why are you doing it? All that kind of thing. Is the mental hurdle you have to clear just to get yourself up in the morning to go to practice, half an hour early so you can get the scout right, so you can relay it to the main rotation guys so they can get locked in, so they can get ready. And then it's back to the dorm, it's back to the hotel room.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Like, I can't.
Tough.
I wouldn't want to do it. So does anybody else want to do it?
I know it is tough on everybody. Whether even the guys who do have these pro aspirations, it's still tough for. I know it is. So I feel for them.
I do. Definitely. I feel bad, man. I hope they get what they're hoping to get out of this. Whatever their expectations were coming in, I'm sure they were just like there was a sense of desperation because it ended abruptly last year, and they're like, "Look, just give us a chance to get some of this back or whatever."
But it's crazy for guys like Cade Cunningham. Like I'm like, yeah, he'll never have a college basketball game where he ever played in front of a fan in college basketball.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And he's especially, yeah.
He's never gonna have it. He's never gonna know what a packed college arena was like.
Right.
Never have that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like and even Ben Simmons at least had that, like, one and done. Like Cade Cunningham's gonna be like, oh my god, fans. Which is another topic, dude, I wanted to ask you about. What do you think the effect is gonna be? I want to do like a real research thing on this when it happens, when fans come back.
Like in large quantities, like sellout arenas, basically.
Yep.
What about it?
Like, do you think players are gonna be like, oh my god, I haven't seen this in a while, and make them more nervous? And it's gonna like affect play. Like, play's gonna be shitty because everyone's gonna be like shitting their pants because they're not gonna be like, oh my god, I forgot what fans was like.
I don't know. You tell me, because what's it like going from like closed scrimmage, practice scrimmages and all that kind of stuff, inter squad scrimmages with your team, a closed scrimmage with an opponent, and then like jumping into like live action in front of people. Is it jarring the first time that happens every season?
Well, actually, no, I don't even know why. Now that I'm saying it like this, I don't know why I didn't think it would make it better, because to your point, playing in front of people just gives you more adrenaline.
Juice,
so
yeah. Right.
And so it makes the play better, I think. But I don't know. I think maybe I was just surprised at how high level the basketball has just been. Even when the bubble first started, like, it was quality.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It was very good basketball. And then, like, now we still have very quality basketball. Like, there hasn't really been, would you say there's been overall in just the sport of basketball since the no fans has been implemented? Would you say there's been a drop off at all?
No, I think it's gotten better.
Yeah.
I don't think.
See, I think that's what's confusing me. I'm like, how is, like, the fans left and it got better, but logically I'm like, with fans in an arena, that makes you better. So, like, I'm like, what's gonna happen when they come back this time?
I don't know. I have to see like a league-wide survey where players tell which they would prefer and why. Because to me, it looks like the games are just. It just feels like they're at like a city park, and like you can hear everything everyone's saying to you. You can hear all the trash talk. You can kind of get yourself motivated. You don't need a external
as a
motivation from the crowd.
shooter, I would love it. I would love it as a shooter. Like empty arenas, like the backdrop, like you just got to focus in on that one rim. There's nothing moving behind it. Not like they put the tarp on the seats now too, so it's like really just the rim. So all you got to do is focus. Like I think I would like that. But I guess like that's what I'm saying. When fans do come back, would I notice that? I don't know. I haven't played in a real game since March, so I don't know.
I think the thing I've noticed is once players get locked in, it turns into a really fun game. But the other side of that is once one team gets rolling, they're really hard to stop from a momentum standpoint because you've seen some games that are just like crazy competitive shootouts down to the wire. Like everybody on the court's feeling good about what they're doing on the floor, and it's just like everybody takes turns essentially.
Yeah.
You've also seen these games that go hella sideways, like just biblical ass whippings, where it's like, you know what I mean? Where one team gets on a roll, the other team's cold, and they just can't shut it off. They can't stop it. I mean, Creighton-Seton Hall's in
Creighton. I was just about to say it. Yeah.
Creighton-Seton.
I was like, see Creighton-Seton Hall.
Creighton-Seton Hall. Yeah, that got disturbingly lopsided. Like, I kind of felt bad for Seton Hall. I'm like, they're better than getting doubled up by Creighton, but they're getting doubled up by Creighton. So, you know, what Michigan just did to Wisconsin, that's the same deal. You know what I mean?
Like,
Wisconsin's not 40 points worse than Michigan, but they were that day. You know what I'm saying?
That day.
So it's like that when one team gets on a roll and you're kind of like scuffling a little bit.
Yeah, that was like what was the Gonzaga game? When Gonzaga played who? When it was like close for like maybe 5 minutes, and then it was like Gonzaga was like,
I mean, everybody they've played.
I guess.
Yeah, like they did to Virginia.
Yeah,
like Virginia, they got.
No, was it Virginia? Whatever their first like ranked matchup was.
They played KU right out of the chute.
KU.
They put 102 on KU right out of the jump.
Yeah,
First day of the season, basically.
Yeah.
That was an eye opener. Like, oh Jesus. No one scores 100 on KU. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
eye opener. Also, did you see James Harden last night?
Dude, yeah. You talking about like while the Bulls are, you know, in year 25 of ineptitude, like, dude, Brooklyn looks like they might be fun.
So, dude, this is gonna be fun.
Dude, Harden was making plays defensively last night.
Do you think Kyrie fucks it up? Do you think Kyrie fucks it all up?
Well, without question, but I mean, that's also going to be entertaining in itself, though, won't it be?
True.
Like, I mean, I just want to see how.
This is the thing. This is what I'm realizing now. Their games all actually mesh. Like their games can work together.
Think so?
The three of them. I do now. After watching the two of them, dude. After watching KD, I'm now convinced that KD is so talented and skilled. Like he could work with any. You could input him with any.
You're just now convinced of that? Just right now? You just
no.
Convinced of that?
And maybe not now. Just now on the record.
Because I'm pretty sure the Warriors were the could have beaten anyone in the world in any era at some point. Like,
But that's what I'm saying. So
should have probably realized that.
I was like, no. Okay, I was just thinking that James Harden's too ball dominant. It's going to come and mess KD up, because KD needs the ball. I don't like when I go if I pay money and I like when in the normal world when I pay money and go to an NBA basketball game, like to see Kevin Durant play, like I want to see him with the ball. I don't actually want to see it in anybody else's hands that much. So I was nervous that James Harden was going to like ruin that. But now I'm like, wait, no. This work. I want to see it in both y'all hands. I want to see this because this is better than just one. They were cooking, man. Like off the rip.
Here's the thing I'm giving James because I don't think he gets a lot of credit for it. He's an incredible
passer.
Not just a passer. Like he's an incredible passer. No question.
Yeah.
But he also sees the floor really well. Like it's not just about what he sees and what he can do. It's about how he sets like the defense up to open other guys up. And I just think in Houston, they gave him Chris Paul, who is a ball dominant point guard facilitator, right? Probably not a great mesh right there
Mhm.
because that's James's game too.
Mm-hmm.
Then they gave him Russ,
Mm-hmm.
which is like so you downgraded CP3 to an even more ball dominant stat stuffer, and you made that situation hella toxic. So I just think he got tired of trying to facilitate for, I don't want to be disrespectful, but like lower level dudes. And I think
And don't forget Dwight.
I think
Don't
if
forget that's where that started.
yeah,
They started with trying to get him Dwight,
right.
which is again, and then if you really look back at it, you're like, wow, like he's such a good passer. Like, why didn't that work? And he was like, oh, well, that was Dwight. And then you're like, why didn't it work with CP? Which it would have. That him and CP actually would have worked if CP didn't get hurt. I do
Yeah.
believe they have a better chance. They could have won that series.
Yeah, they
man.
probably could have beat the Warriors that year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but yeah, to that point, like, and then they give him CP3. Like, none of the people he's ever been with worked, and this is why I think he was so ready to get out of there because he was finally like, well, this is at least me choosing to some degree who I get to go with instead of the people you guys are just bringing here for me to be like, oh, do you like this? Does this work? Like, he's like, no, doesn't.
No, it doesn't actually. But I think he can play really well with like, I don't know if he can play well with Kyrie, but I know he can play well with KD. Because he can do his thing and he'll have more willingness to set up KD and the players that are around KD.
See,
knowing that he's got a dude like that with him, it's the best player he's ever played with. Even going back to the OKC days, it's still KD's a better version of that KD. So you're essentially given one of the more underrated facilitators in the game, who's also a bucket in his own right. You're giving him the best scorer of his era. KD's the best scorer of this era, right? Like yes. LeBron's the best player. Yes. Steph's the most transcendent. KD's the best scorer, right?
Yes. Completely agree.
So I think he's reinvigorated by the fact that he gets like the best toy he's ever gotten in his life from a basketball standpoint.
Definitely.
Yeah. But I don't know what I don't know what the chemistry is like between Kyrie, KD, and James. I don't know what that's like. But I know Harden.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, I do think their game. I actually do think all three of their games will mesh. I think Kyrie will work for them, just in the sense, from what I saw in early in this season when he was playing, even like for the Nets. Like I thought he was doing he was super efficient, attacked really well, was setting guys up real well too. Like he's not I would never call Kyrie Irving a good passer, but I think he's a good he can set you up well, after he I guess is attacking I don't know. But I just think that it could work, especially if he's going to have to kind of dial it down a little bit. He can't go out there all crazy Uncle Drew, Mr. Let me dribble it around, because you can get it to two guys who just can score more efficiently. I think he'll end up I hope he ends up just being more of adding more, just put spot up threes to his game and just shooting threes to his game. But that's why I just think it could work. I just don't know if the personalities are going to mesh. I think they can mesh on the court, but will it mesh off?
Yeah, I don't know. What was funny was NBA Twitter was all because Kyrie was making waves for his going AWOL before Harden got traded to the Nets or whatever. Mm. So when Harden got traded to the Nets, everybody's like, all right, now trade Kyrie for Russ and reunite the old three or whatever.
The OKC Thunder.
Yeah. And I'm just like, ew.
Yeah.
I don't want gross.
Don't even bring that up. Yeah.
Right? That's not going to work at all. Yeah.
No, that
would. It's funny because Harden back then was the worst of those three. I don't think that's the case anymore.
No.
And the fact that Russ wouldn't understand that would make that situation bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think, okay, it's just like OKC where, KD was 1A, I was 1B, and then James was our
come in
our third option.
James got yeah.
Mm-hmm. James is better. Harden's better than Russ right now by a country mile.
Yeah.
But I don't think Russ knows that, which is probably why it didn't.
It's also funny because it was what I remember of Russell Westbrook on that OKC team is I was like, damn, this dude takes a lot of pull-ups from the goddamn free throw line.
You just remember him being
Yo,
oh,
I just remember him being like full, either in transition, full blown, like dunking on somebody and like viciously attacking the rim, or like pulling up from the free throw line, and I'm like, what?
why do you
Like,
do?
and like either missing or he would hit like every 1 in 3.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, I think he thinks this is a good shot for him, but it's not. And
That's
like,
what
look at where we are now, where he doesn't take it anymore because he's finally realized that this is just an awful shot.
that's what my favorite part about watching Russ's like ascension is like he I don't know what he thinks his spots are.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
same.
Because you watch him play.
I want to know what Russell Westbrook thinks is his shot.
Yeah, because he'll like
Because I don't
get to
think he
these
has one.
areas.
I don't think he has one.
Yeah, he'll get to these areas like super quick and then just like almost destroy the backboard with the shot. Like
Yeah,
it's like hard off the rim or it
yeah.
doesn't even get rim, and it's like, why did you take that? Like, why did you race to that area thinking, oh, they're not stop here we go. Like, here's my opening. Like,
No, the one that killed me was in the remember when he came back in the bubble?
mm-hmm.
In his first shot, he literally like pushed it out, got to like the sneak spot, like along the baseline, just not corner 3, but like just in from the 3. And he pulled up and he airballed it. That was like his first shot back from injury after the bubble. He put out like this whole hype video talking about I'm back, gets to his spot, and he missed the whole rim. And that's why I want to ask my man Russell Westbrook. I ain't hating either. This is not hating hour. I'm just this is all jokes.
Where do you think your spots are and why? Like,
I need the interview. I need the interview.
Take
with
me inside what you're thinking when you go 150 miles an hour and then stop on a
to pull
dime
up at the free throw line.
At X marks the spot, stop on a dime here, raise up like your he raises the thing is like he gets elevation on his jumper like he's dunking.
On his, yeah.
His elevation on his jumper is like high enough to dunk it. He's above the rim.
He has no chill. He has no chill.
I know. That's what I mean. There's like no measurement in there. No. He's either at 0 or 10.
Yes.
He doesn't like find that sweet spot.
Yes. No. He doesn't know how to just simmer. Like he can't, when you put the grill on simmer and just let it, he doesn't do that shit.
No.
He's either full blast or off. That's it.
It is. What was the game? It was game 2 against the Lakers in the Western Conference Semis.
Yeah.
Remember they got game 1, and then like Lakers were like beating their ass in game 2 because Russ just was like shaving points bad. You know what I mean?
Missing buddies.
Or you like had to have a conversation back in the back tunnel. You're like,
did
you bet against the Rockets tonight? Like, what are you doing out here? But they came back and made that thing a game. They could have been up 2-0 on the Lakers if Russ was like close to the 10. But he was at the 0 that day.
He was at the 0.
Everything
he was on full blown 0.
Was 150 miles an hour and dreadful. Like mistakes, horrible shots, terrible turnovers. Decisions were like what? And
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like he had to have handed the Lakers like 40 points that night on
Maybe
just his mistakes alone. Yeah. It would have been that totally changed the whole series. Was Russ going to 0 in game 2 because they would have been up 2-0 and that would have been a series, you know what I'm
completely different.
So I bet James Harden was like came back to the hotel down there after that game and was like, never again. Whatever this series turns into, never again. Like never again. I'm done. That might have been the game where he decided he was done with Houston and he was just gonna ride out the rest of this series. Like he'll give it a go for like 10 minutes, and then when the Lakers are up 20, he'll be like, well, kind of saw that coming. And then, kind of like go into a shell a little bit. So, and everybody wants to think like Harden turned it off, but really it was just, him kind of like embracing reality that with Russ on his squad, he's not beating LeBron, essentially. So now he's like, hey, I mortgaged Russ out of Houston and I mortgaged myself out of Houston, and now I got KD, and, if I get into a firefight with LeBron now, I at least know I got a dude who can beat LeBron because KD's done that multiple times, right?
Yeah.
So think about, I think Kyle Korver said it like back when he was getting his Hall of Fame induction ceremony at Creighton. He's like, there's something to the vibe of knowing you've got the baddest dude on your side, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like Harden knows now if he finds himself against LeBron, when something's on the line, he knows he's got the baddest
Yeah.
dude because he knows
It's
KD.
no, that's the
LeBron.
same. Hey, all right. To put this in a context, it's the same argument. When you got like the older brother who could whoop everybody in the neighborhood's ass,
Mm-hmm.
like you just got that confidence. Like you could walk around like
Buck up your chest a little
yeah,
bit. More.
yeah. You could walk around with a different type of swag because it's like oh no one can say nothing to you because it's like you go across the street and then your friend over there he's like yo talking to and you like before I go get I'll go get my brother. My brother. Don't make me go get my cousin.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like
you don't want me to turn the heat up right now. Yeah.
You know what he did to you last time. You remember what he did to you last time. You was talking to me like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you go get it.
He knows. That's what I
so
mean.
So now, there's a whole different vibe. Yeah.
I bet you'll see like Harden like show out more now because that was worse.
Mm-hmm.
That worse.
You trying to go tanning here? Oh,
I know. I don't know what I was thinking.
That could have been.
Yeah, but I think he's gonna like show out now because he knows like if no matter what situation I run into, I got the baddest dude on my side right now. Like if LeBron's over there and AD's like doing his thing, like I don't have to worry about trying to beat LeBron and AD by myself because KD's got he's won titles, he's won MVPs, like he's the dude, you know what I'm saying? Like he's not gonna shy away from sizing up AD and putting one in his eye, basically, you know what I'm saying? Like I think he feels that now and he's gonna play I think he's gonna play like that. I think he's gonna try harder.
We have the two big like the two dynamic duos on the East and the West, and Brooklyn has like a dynamic duo with a part-time third.
Yeah.
You think he's gonna work weekends or no? Just a weekday guy, Kyrie Irving? No.
He'll take Friday, Saturday. He'll have off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He might not be 100% on Sunday because of what he does on Friday and Saturday. But yeah, he'll give you one day.
I don't know. I don't think he's religious. I don't know what you would qualify as, but I don't think he'll play on Sundays because of whatever spiritual thing he has playing that day. So maybe not Sundays. He's like
he'll be your Monday. He'll be there Monday through Thursday though.
Monday through Thursday kind of guy. That makes sense.
He'll mail it in Friday. He'll no show Saturday, and he definitely won't show up on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're like, but I mean,
that sounds like the American
what do you think
way.
the top 5 players in the league are right now? If you're,
Oh, we're going quick hitters now. All right.
Well, hitters. I'm just. It leads into something that I would say, like top 5 or top 10, wherever you want to think. Like, are LeBron and AD in your top 5? Yes,
LeBron and AD are in my top 5.
Are Harden and KD in your top 5?
They are.
Okay, so I feel like that's what Harden's thinking right now.
Yeah.
He's like LeBron's got a top 5. LeBron has a top 5 dude on his side.
It's those 4, and then Steph, and then it makes sense.
Okay, yeah. See, that's what Harden's thinking right now.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the way to beat LeBron. You need a dude on your side. You can't I'm probably.
And he was like, "Get me out of the Western Conference." This dude came and took over my goddamn conference.
He's like, we were on the.
LeBron went to the West. LeBron went to the West, and everyone dipped.
Dude, what was that? Oh my God. Someone had a banger of a tweet on social media after. Remember when Portland came in and took game 1 from them?
Yep.
Okay, so Portland came and took game 1 from them.
Yeah, and when Dame was dancing, Dame was like.
So Portland came and took game 1 from them, and one of these like old hats, like these old NBA writers or whatever, like some 75-year-old white dude who's like covered like different eras of the league. He's like, who still like wants to think LeBron's not like that great or whatever. He was like, "Welcome to the Western Conference, LeBron," because he took the L in game 1 against Portland, and then they won the next 4 against Portland. Then they beat Houston in 5, then they beat Utah in 5, and got to the NBA Finals, and then won that. Mm-hmm. Or after he basically beat everybody in the West in 5, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. So someone responded to that with a banger of a tweet. They were just like, they were just like, "Welcome to LeBron Western Conference." They like flipped it. Because he just rolls through the league and gets to the finals. Everybody thought LeBron going to the West would have been the end of his finals run, and it wasn't. Like he ripped through it just like he did the East. Can't hate on that dude anymore. That's all I got. All I have left is latching on to MJ, and like he's my ride or die. But like you can't hate on LeBron in terms of like you can't. Because
he shifted the whole. James was like, "Get me out of this conference." He's too many good teams.
He ruined the West, like he ruined the East. Like he killed people's will to compete. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like, man.
Like it was like, remember, like before LeBron James, like Phoenix was a fun little story with Devin Booker scoring 72 in Boston.
Mhm.
And then like LeBron gets there and it's like, no, we got to like really get our shit together because
Yeah.
LeBron's here now.
We
And we're
gotta
going to have
trade
to
for
play him because it's like literally in the conference. They're like, no, we got to go get like CP3, some
Mhm.
real draft picks and really like fix this because like like LeBron's here twice like a month now. So like let's figure it out.
Twice a month now. Yeah, dude. It's
Only because they're in the same division though. Like that West, like the West is stacked.
Welcome to LeBron Western Conference. That was hilarious.
Welcome to LeBron Western Conference.
There's like, yeah, 5-5, bye.
I saw the one. I just thought the funniest one after they won the championship was just all the tweets where it was like all the people saying like the things about all the teams that the Lakers were going to face. Like they were like, yeah, what are they going to do with like who's going to guard Harden? Who's going to guard Westbrook? It's like, what do you mean? We could have put a cone out there for that shit. Like, who's gonna guard them? We're asking the wrong questions. Like,
yes.
Who's gonna guard Westbrook? No. Like LeBron and AD have never had a problem guarding any. Like it's who's gonna guard them? Like you're saying the wrong things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah,
that's funny stuff.
So are we making our early prediction Nets Lakers? Because I'm not. Still Celtics Lakers. Every year.
Whoa, hold on a minute. So you think Boston's still getting by the Nets, right?
Are you asking journalist Jordan or
whatever
Jordan?
You know what?
You want logical Jordan?
Put whatever Jordan had on you want. I mean, I don't really care. I feel like the answer should be the same, but you tell me. Is it the same? Put both hats on and let me know.
I'm still rocking with it.
And then I'll decide who
I'm not. So I'll put both hats on. So the like bias in me is still going with Celtics because I'm like, I still think the Celtics, like if Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum keep elevating and keep balling out, who's to say they can't compete with? I'm not saying they're top 5 players in the league, but I'm saying for a series, I think they could ratchet it up and maybe beat that team. So in Brooklyn as they are now, yeah. I think the Celtics are still deeper, Brooklyn as they are now.
Well, I mean, everyone's going to be deeper, but that's what super teams deal with all the time. They're like, oh, even when the Heat got together, like, oh, yeah, they don't have a bench, though. Okay, well, they don't really need one because you're essentially minus 20 when the stars are on the floor. So you have to be like 25 points better than their bench, and you're not. So you're just – I mean, you have to.
I mean, yeah.
I'm still. Your bench has to be 25 points better than theirs. Like that's not.
I'm trying to be a loyal Celtics fan, and so I'm still just gonna ride for them and just say that they would do well, even if that might not be true, because the real like journalist, I guess, in me is like, yeah, we never had anybody who could guard Giannis or Jimmy Butler, so I don't think we have anybody who can guard KD.
You don't.
But yeah, I don't want to admit that. I don't logically want to have to admit that. So,
well, why do you have to admit it? It's just that's like admitting that 2 + 2.
I know Giannis. Speaking of Giannis, I know he's shitty right now. I know he's mad right now too. He's sick. I know he was already like, damn, I already had to deal with KD and Kyrie. Now James when it comes to my Eastern Conference.
How long is KD under contract for with the Nets?
And
what was Harden's deal too? Oh, they can be all free agents in a year. That's right.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so they all have player options in a year. So he signed a long-term deal with Milwaukee. He'd be all right. Mm-hmm. He just had to wait it out a little bit longer than he wanted to. I mean, he's got Drew for 5 more years, right? Isn't that what they absorbed, right?
Yeah, that's not doing Drew Holiday and Giannis is doing.
It is kind of funny. It is kind of funny how he locked in with Milwaukee. They made all these moves. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then I know he's shitty. I wouldn't have made if James Harden got traded there before that. There's no way in hell Giannis goes, yeah, I'm gonna sign 5 years. He goes, no, I'll sign for 2. We'll see what this shit looks like after KD gets a full season in Brooklyn under his belt.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even know if you're a superstar in the NBA, why you would even commit to a team that didn't have other rock solid studs around you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I bet Harden and
I
KD
would
want to
never.
play with each other for a long time,
Yes.
right? So they're probably going to be like, all right, let's try to like formulate this contract situation to make it so
Yeah.
we can be teammates.
Yeah. I mean,
But like
yes,
with
there's that point
Giannis,
too.
like Giannis didn't really have a dude in Milwaukee he could like latch
No.
onto. You know, like I
Like
love
this
Chris
is the
Middleton,
point.
but KD
Yeah.
he ain't.
So Giannis is
So
and if because you asked like, I mean, like when you said top 5 players, I guess Giannis is like in like he'd be number 6, I guess. Like if we're gonna get that like technical about it. But I'm like, why is he the only one? I mean, besides Steph now, but Steph had, I mean, when healthy has Clay. He's the like Giannis is the only one who doesn't have another top like guy right now in this era we're seeing of super duos.
yeah,
Because you got because even
and
like
and he's a limited superstar in his own right.
yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like it's easy to scheme to defend him, which is why you
Mm-hmm.
need a stud around him, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
have one.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just never gonna. They're not gonna get over the hump as they're currently constructed.
Yeah.
So he kind of messed up going long term. I hope he likes Milwaukee. I guess. Like I hope
Giannis is like when you buy a car. Like, he just bought a car that everybody was like, just lease it, bro. Just lease it. You're not gonna like it. He just bought the Bucks instead of leasing them. Yeah. Everyone was like, bro, just lease it. Just lease it.
Yeah,
Don't buy it. Why don't buy it? That's a lot of commitment. You might not like it. Don't buy it. You don't
it's
know.
so funny how he got like props for like locking into that contract. And like, look, he's
Yeah.
being loyal to the team. He like, all that stupid narrative that still pops his head out.
I can't believe that's even a thing.
And then
What does loyal to Milwaukee mean? What do you mean?
no,
and even
I've been to
also,
Milwaukee. I'm just like, well,
same,
okay.
same,
I mean, it's
same,
yeah, it's
same.
nothing special.
But also, it's like what kills me is I'm like, what is it? What does that mean? Like loyalty to Milwaukee? They owe him. You ever watch the documentary The Giannis Effect? It's the same thing as like what LeBron did to the Quicken Loans Arena back in the day. Like the Giannis, they built the Pfizer Forum was built because of Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me anything else. I played at the Bradley Center. I played at the Pfizer Forum. When you see it, you know that is the house that Giannis built. That is a fact. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
There was people in standing room seats to see him in the Bradley Center. People were paying to stand to watch him in Milwaukee. What do you mean loyalty to Milwaukee? They owe him. He made Milwaukee weekday nights better for all the people in Milwaukee.
You haven't lived until you've covered a game at the Bradley Center because the seating arrangement is just, I mean, you got to be really cool with people.
Mm.
You got to be, you can't be
They knocked it down.
claustrophobic.
What do you mean? They knocked it down, though, didn't they?
What? The Bradley
The
Center?
Bradley Center, yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the whole new setup right there.
Yeah.
It's nothing like that.
No, nothing like that.
But I mean, I'm talking like, here's how you're working.
Yeah, because and that's what that's what I'm saying though. People still paid to stand that close to each other just to watch Giannis.
Yeah.
In Milwaukee.
So,
and I'm like, dude, you could have
given the titles or not, he's already given back to the city.
I'm like, bro. Honestly, it just he had really bad luck actually, because if I put myself in Giannis' shoes, if I was him at the end of this thing, I would have went to Miami, but he couldn't have gone to Miami because they beat them in the playoffs now. Like, it was just a bad deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not a good look. Like, he's a man. His image is like honor and integrity and like will grit, like all that. And he could and I was about to be rocking with that in Miami because I thought he was out. I was like, oh, Giannis and Jimmy, like, that's going to be
not
something
just Giannis
serious.
and Jimmy, but like Giannis and like Duncan Robinson.
Yes,
like
fill him with shooters. Hero, like
Tyler Hero.
I was like, it's about to be rocking. But then obviously they had to lose to him, and it would have been like everyone been like, oh, Giannis is this and that. And I'm like, man, y'all not. I don't know.
Hey, he's just making a business decision. That's all.
Hey, I respect it.
Yeah, he might need to like follow the James Harden path and force himself out of that situation because that he's not winning there.
No.
Something's got to happen for him to win there. I just don't see it. I mean, they can't even beat the Celtics right now.
Yeah,
and the Celtics don't even have like one of those dudes. They've got like Jason Tatum's like almost there, and then he has better pieces around him than Giannis does.
They need to go out and get. Yeah, you know who they need to go out and get is Brad Beal. You put Brad Beal,
Milwaukee.
You put, but they couldn't afford him. They couldn't.
Yeah, that's.
But that's like that's like the only situation I can see that working, like putting a guy like that there.
Mm-hmm.
Because you put a Brad Beal with a Chris Middleton and a Giannis, that's the only way I could be like, okay, maybe they're going to the finals now. But
Yeah.
obviously, don't have the money. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
it's
messed
tough
this.
for my man.
We messed this episode up though. We didn't. We stuck to sports, so I'm mad at us.
Eh, sometimes it's okay for sports.
I don't know.
We can have we can have a no, but we can have a little pre-inauguration
You want to do like a
episode.
inauguration live stream?
Yeah, we
The
could
thing
do a
about the thing
pre-inauguration.
about these topics that we researched for our social commentary aspect of this show was
Yeah,
that they have like a shelf life, so we can talk about them next week.
exactly.
And we're gonna.
Exactly.
So yeah, don't think we let you guys off the hook. We got social commentary coming too.
Oh yeah.
But honestly, like I want to keep this like embedded in this podcast because it's not. I was thinking about this last night. Like I'm 35 right now, and I wish I knew what I know now at your age.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like talk like an old head right now to you.
No.
But
no,
I wish
I also
had
appreciate that though too.
Enough conversation like at your age
Mhm.
because I think by 35,
I get that too, and I said this about just our podcast in general. And what I love about this is, I think there's a lot of people who are in my position too, and I tell you all the time, like the hardest thing for me in terms of politics and like really trying to understand some of it is trying not to get too deep into it and trying not to try to preserve my mental health, because a lot of it is very divisive, and like just in reading about it, and even just the facts, like I know they're facts, but still they're very, I don't know how to take some of it in. So what's helpful for me is to have people like you that I can ask questions to and say it in the way that I just kind of speak normally, instead of trying to make it all formal and political, like I guess per se. But I think a lot of other people have the questions that I have. So like for us, when we get into our conversations about it and all that, I think it's I have a similar perspective to people my age who have the questions, to even someone, and I'm not even trying to make it like you're that much older, but even just to someone in your generation. So like be able to ask those questions. I think people just like can really relate to like even what I'm asking you.
Yeah, I think. Well, the thing is, because of what you just mentioned in terms of divisiveness, like the temperature right now is at like a fever pitch, and we don't know how to turn it down without because there's stuff that needs to be addressed right now that if you turn down the temperature, you can't address it properly. So last week's episode, we got really emotional, right? We were
hot.
We were letting it fly off the top. Yeah. And I was too. But I felt like what we were responding to required us to be pretty upset, right?
Yeah.
But I think we have a responsibility, certainly my age group, demographic, generation, or whatever you want to label it, has a responsibility to yours to help turn down the temperature gradually as we create productive conversation around social issues, right? Agreed. So when we talk about these issues, we have a responsibility to make sure the next generation knows how to do this, how to have these conversations without it always getting personal. You know, it's got to be personal, but let's make it productive at the same time.
Yes.
So I want to make it. I don't want to avoid it. I want to keep having conversations that relate to real life.
I want to take it head on. I want to take it head on.
The new administration coming in, like with new younger politicians going to Congress and people getting elected around the city.
Yeah.
Because like in Omaha, Ernie Chambers is gone, Terrell McKinney's in. Like that's like a 30-year age gap right there. It's a new generation of politicians.
Exactly.
So I want to like keep like not only just keep the pressure on them, but like keep up with what they're doing. With what this summer? What happened this summer? Did all that stuff? Was that just like a boiling point that led to nothing, or can we make it something that
is it going to be lasting change? Is it going to be the spring pad that we thought it was supposed that it is supposed to be? I agree.
Yeah, and
I think it's good because it's
having conversation. We're not going to do that.
It's a lot like, and just to what you're saying, like a lot was exposed and brought to the forefront in 2020, and I think now we have a responsibility because, like, I agree with you. I can't be the same Jordan who was out in 2020 marching in Black Lives Matter protests in front of the state capitol like this summer. I can't be the same person if I don't come on here and we don't talk about this still. Like if I just did that and now it's done and let's just talk about sports again, what is that? What does that say? You know? And so that's why I like that we get to jump on here and we can talk about what we're getting into and just everything, because it's just this is my political awakening, I guess. Like this is the most I've ever been into politics in my life because
that's what I'm
I
saying.
feel like
You're having it. You're having it at an age I wish I had it.
I feel like I feel like I have to, and so to have this like podcast and be able to just put that out there and have like even just people who listen to it, those are people who are gonna subsequently help me grow like in my political understanding in this world. So whether you agree with me or what we are saying or not, any pushback, criticism, all that about what we're saying is helpful because that's kind of what we want at the end of the day. Because that's where we have to get. Because for years and years we went on with things like you're saying, like it was like events would happen like a George Floyd, and then we don't talk about it, and we don't hold the next president accountable for things like that, and we didn't do that before. Let's do that now, and that's what we're here for. And so I'm excited. I'm sorry we didn't get into it today, but you know.
We will.
That's just we're gonna bring that strong. We're gonna bring that back strong.
And we don't want to create an echo chamber either. Like I want feedback. That's if you disagree, speak up.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation.
Let's have the conversation.
We'll have guests on. We're fine. If you want to, if you think,
and we'd love to have guests we disagree with. That makes for a more productive episode.
Agreed.
For real. So for real.
We start the sports today, but we're not going to do that. If we thought we're not. Like
if you thought that was just like a one-time thing, it wasn't a one-time thing. It's actually, it's gonna be a every time thing. Just, we get a little carried away here when we get to our NBA chit chat. Sometimes
things went down in the league. We had to address.
Things went down in the league, so we had to, we called an audible, called a little James Harden at the line of scrimmage there.
But we still appreciate you chiming in, listening to us. We hope you check it out. Episode 5, Jordan Scurry OG number. That was
5. J5 from freshman year, man.
Yep. Before Tyshawn came in and was like, "Yo, let me scoop that. Let me swipe that."
Yeah. I wish we had a
number. Did you change number 5 before he got there? How'd that go?
This is what I wish I had a cooler story to tell you. Right. Oh. See, this is like to end this. I'm gonna tell a weird story. But so I literally picked 5 because I was late, when I signed the Creighton as walking, I was late in the summer. And so they were like, yeah, you like whatever number you want, it's fine. Get it. So I was like, 5 was the coolest. And they had promised Tyshawn that number when he committed. He had committed before I even picked that number, I think. Or he was a recruit.
So they knew it was a rental before you did?
Yeah. Okay. But they didn't tell me. So when I picked it, they were like, yeah. Basically, I wish they just would have been like, yeah, we have a recruit, though, who's going to be number 5 next year. We promised him number 5. Okay. Preston promised him number 5. And so I was so hot.
Contingent upon commitment.
I was so hot, though. Like, right? And I'm on a team, and I'm like, who is this young kid? Like, I'm not just letting him come. Like, he just can't come in here and get a number.
Hold up. I'm the vet.
Yeah. No, and not even the vet. I'm still a puny little sophomore, like, whatever.
Okay.
But I'm trying to get respect, like in college basketball. You know how that shit is, right?
Yeah.
Play me for it. Yeah. I was like, Preston, he got to play me for it. Like, he can't just have my number. Preston laughed dead in my face and said, you're giving him 5. That was cute, though.
That was like your first introduction to like real life.
I was like,
you're just, oh, man.
I did, though. I did when I was.
Did you choose 12 after that?
So you want to know the story? I actually didn't want. I was like, all these numbers are whack. And then I was pissed they were even making me change. So what I wanted to do was I was trying to get the most inconvenient number possible. So they had to like go make a new jersey because I was pissed off.
Like 67 or something like that?
Yep. I actually asked. It was 55. I was like, yeah, can you make me like a 55?
Like,
55. Yeah. I was like, I like 55, like 2 5s. Because I was like, I went from 1 5 to 2 5. Okay. Like 55. So I said it to Johnny. And like Johnny was like, yeah, no, we can't do that. Like whatever. And then I was like, fuck this. I'm gonna just blow the Scurry Curry thing out of proportion here. Let me get 30. And he was like, don't got that either. Like we'd have to make them. And I was like, that's why not? I was like, that's the point. He goes, dude, just choose one of the numbers we already have. And I was like, but like I know guys who like, and then so this is after my freshman year, so I already know like they're calling Jahan's 12 at pickup. So I'm like, I don't want to pick, like I see him. I don't know if I want to pick the same number. And so I go through the Rolodex, right? And then it's 13. I'm like, dude, but I played with Cole Huff. Like he was 13 my freshman year. I don't want to have the number of somebody I literally played with before. And then all the other numbers I like didn't really like. They were like, I don't know. It was like the 34. Like I was close to 34 because I was like, oh, Boston kid. I'll do like Paul Pierce, David Ortiz. Like makes sense, whatever. Mm-hmm. But then I don't know. I just was like 12 because all in high, like I don't know why, but in high school my numbers were because I chose 32 initially because it's the three. I have my two parents, obviously mom and dad, so the two. And then the 3, it's me, my brother, and my sister, 3 siblings.
Okay.
So I had 32. That's why I like that. And then 23, I was my senior year. And then I like 5 because in total, it's the 5 family members. And then I was like, I couldn't like make that do any family thing out of any of the numbers left. So the way I made it up with 12 was I was like, I'm one brother and I have 2 younger siblings. So 12.
Okay. And you were cool with taking it from like, did you have?
Yeah, I called Jahan's. I called him. Okay. Yeah, he was like, "Dude, you know I don't give a fuck." Like, I was like, he was like, "Respect for calling me, bro." He goes, "But you got it." Like, he was like, "You know, I don't care." I did the same thing. I actually called Cole Huff too to see what he would say, and he was like, "Bro, I'm mad that." Cole Huff was like, "Bro, why'd you even call me? Just take the number." I was like. He's like, why is this even a conversation?
You've spent like sleepless nights thinking about this.
I'm like thinking about it for like 6 hours.
Go right ahead.
I'm like, dude, this is gonna be my number. Like, I'm gonna be, and they're like, dude, it's like I'm like both of them are like, dude, I'm like playing pro overseas. Like I'm like I have other shit to do with my life. I'm like, all right, my bad. Sorry, I called you with my college problems.
This is like a text conversation. What are you calling me for? It's 4 in the morning over here.
But yeah. Just wanted to wrap that up with a fun.
I think I might tease the episode like that. Like, find out how Jahan's gave Jordan the blessing to have his number, basically.
Yeah. In the last 2 minutes of this 2.5-hour episode,
they'll have to get through the first 2 hours to get there. See,
that's how exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Like, when does he talk about it? Keep going.
I'm gonna tweet this one out and be like, just make sure you listen to this one on like 1.5 volume, maybe 2.5 volume. You'll get through it in like an hour.
Yeah, and we got through our Zoom hiccups and everything like that. We made it through the end. Another episode 5 in the books.
We did it.
Appreciate you, Jordan, and thanks for everybody for tuning in.
We did it, even with my shitty Wi-Fi. Let's go. 5 episodes.
Go. With his scrub Wi-Fi. That's what the scrub is.
Scrub Wi-Fi. 5 episodes in. We're live, baby.
See you all next week. Have a good one.
See you next week.